All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to yet another HEX very happy hour show. We got the shore, the beach, the sun, the clouds. We have Big Kirk. We got Motley Investor, and special guests John Wick and Scotty DOES Kno. Welcome, guys. First time on the show. Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Heck yeah, man. And thanks for reaching out, John, because I think of like the regular streamers. You're probably the one I haven't been on stream with, so it's really cool. I know you got some traditional finance knowledge, and of course, you and Scotty are Hex OGs, and I've seen you guys on Discourse Syndicate, so it's really cool to have you guys on here.
Yeah, man. Likewise, I've always appreciated your stuff and the community and your streams. So, and you had Richard on last week, so that was a nice bonus.
Yeah, I did not plan on that, and that turned out to be quite awesome. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I mean, and that guy was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him back
he was
on.
Awful.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad being from the same industry as him. I kind of feel bad, but
yeah, he reached back out after that show and was like, I'd be open to doing one with just you hosting me and Richard, but logistics and all that stuff, it hasn't worked out, and I don't know if it will. But he's actually been asking me some questions about how to buy and stuff. I think it's for his own research. He's not actually getting HEX, but I think he's like just going over the process of, okay, how difficult is this as opposed to just going onto an exchange and doing it. Sent him a couple videos. I think one of them was Crypto Coffee's just basic how-to through Coinbase. So they're, I guess, trying to understand the process.
Uh-oh.
We lose him already? Sweet.
Look
All right,
at that
so
one.
now this is the Big K show. So what would you like to talk about, Big K? So where are we doing the tour from today? Because it's not a golf cart.
Today we are cruising the streets of Chicago in a lovely Tesla Model X here. You can see this fantastic panoramic the windshield that we've got here. When we stop here in a minute, I can show you also the gull wings come out and everything as well. It's a fantastic ride. I mean, and let me tell you, you hit the gas pedal and this baby goes, man. It feels like the stuff was made for space because like it's quick. I mean, and then like the lack of delay between a standard engine and the electric is something.
There's nothing there.
No, it's nothing. It's incredible. I mean, it's a very, very smooth ride, and the seats are super comfortable. I mean, I'm all in all pretty impressed with this ride. So I'm enjoying a ride down to a fantastic, lovely dinner in luxury here. So.
What are you up in Chicago for? Business, pleasure, both?
A little bit of both. I'm originally from Chicago, so my family is all up here, and so getting a chance to make a stop through and say hello to everyone was something I was all into, and there's a couple other reasons too. I mean, Puerto Rican, some of the specialty doctors in Puerto Rico take forever to get into. So, I would stop it through one of my old specialty doctors to make an appointment to, do healthy stuff on the regular, make sure to keep up with that, because it's like important. That is one thing I will say in Puerto Rico is the doctors are fantastic, but sometimes it's like, oh, you'll get your next appointment is in 3 months. And you're like, oh, I was hoping for like 3 weeks. And you're like, ooh. Not gonna happen.
You gonna try to swing by Coffee, Johnny, Maddie in the Hexagon?
Yeah. I'd like to. I'm gonna be up here for a little bit, so I was talking to Coffee about it already. Lollapalooza is also going on this weekend. I had some buddies say that they thoroughly enjoyed Miley Cyrus last night. Apparently, she was crushing it with a wrecking ball. So yeah, that's it's lots of fun stuff going on in Chicago. Glad to be in the hometown enjoying.
Sounds great, man.
Well, let's see. So Cabana's probably relocating, if I had to guess, back to the house where he actually has good Wi-Fi and maybe some decent headphones. So you guys want to just go ahead and get in Pulse, John and Scotty, since you guys are new, you want to kick it off and start wherever you want?
Sure. Go ahead, John.
All right. I just want to start off with a quote that I thought of this last week, and I DM'd it to Richard, and he liked it. And it's regarding HEX, so not Pulse yet, but for HEX, everyone who has ever sold HEX has regretted it, or it changed their life. I think there's, minus the last few weeks, right? You could have just bought it recently and it hasn't changed your life yet, or you haven't regretted it. But for anyone who's bought it in the last year, year and a half, it's pretty much just gone to newer highs. And then if people keep getting left behind, selling too early, and then having to buy back higher, it's just a repeating cycle. Or they sold out early and then paid off their student loans, or paid off a car, or paid off a house, mansions. Like, there's just been amazing things.
Golf course was one of the newest ones, which was really cool. It was Kachachi or something like that in Georgia that they bought over it's over 420 something acres, and evidently a Hexagon and a couple other investors bought it for a steal of $2.3 million, and it came with this mega clubhouse, a couple suites, a dine-in restaurant, beautiful course. And one of the Hexicans posted on Twitter. It was amazing. That's a new one. I haven't seen a golf course yet, so that was pretty cool.
That was pretty badass. I like that a lot.
That was a cool one. Well, it's funny too because I have a buddy that I kind of met on Twitter, and he was initially, we started off the conversation with, he was kind of questioning HEX and some other stuff, but we kind of developed just a bit of a friendship on Twitter, and he started to come around and bought some HEX and everything. And it's funny because he messaged me on the golf course one. He's like, come on, he's like, all this HEX flex stuff, he's like, are all these real? And I was like, yeah, bro. And I showed him, I went and looked up the sale of the golf course. I was like, look, recently sold. He didn't say, the Hexagon didn't say he bought the whole thing. He was part of a pool investor. He's like, oh, okay. And I was like, and I know all the OGs from the beginning, they can all buy those gains. Like John said, people have either sold too soon, or the ones that have kept it this long, they've sold, and they've really, it's changed their lives, the stuff they bought. And some of us continue to hold because we know how valuable it's going to continue to be in the future. But it is all real, and the longer you hold HEX, just the more your life changes. Whether it's toys, whether it's helping out your family, whether it's reaching out and donating $26 million to the SINS Foundation. It's literally not only changing our lives, our family lives, but the better for humanity, with Richard raising $26 million for medical research.
Yeah, I mean, I've also shown a lot of, I just want to be more generous now with something I have, and I just want to give back or whatever, wherever I can. Obviously sends, even just sitting down in a restaurant, I want to tip a little bit more. Just give back any way you can. It's just a great feeling when you can give back. When you have it and you can give, it's really one of the best feelings ever. And it's funny you mentioned that people coming back and wanting to get in or buy HEX now, or whatever. I've had a lot of people that will repeat. I've told about it and they want to get in now, and then they've experienced, I told everyone before Sacrifice starts, at 1.5 pennies, this is a great entry. Get in now to run up before the sack.
Man,
Paul Sacrifice 2 pennies or whatever, and people got in around there, or at least worst case scenario 5 cents, and they're seeing already the 3x gains, and it went to 20 already. A few days, a week ago, whatever. And people are saying, and they're spreading it to other people now too. And I'm getting all their friends. They're contacting me, want to call me. I think one of my biggest problems is trying to divide my time. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Yeah, when it comes to the onboarding, it still just takes too long, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully Staker can correct that with PulseChain, and we can finally get wallets issued. Because that's always been my biggest problem with Staker. Even just having a feature where you could buy the wallet in-app would be great, because right now, we still have this, all right, fill out this Google form, no coiner, go buy some ETH. All right, now give me your transaction hash. Now send it to me, and then you'll get your wallet 24 for 48 hours. Clearly a no coiner can't do that. You have to still walk them all the way through it. So I'm hoping with PulseChain, we finally experience what Staker is supposed to be, and we actually get a wallet from the RIP. And we have a Robinhood crypto app essentially, which would be nice, because like you said, it just eventually becomes too much where you can't onboard everyone. And I think a lot of the OGs are finding that now, where we have this new influx of people coming in with PulseChain that want to get into HEX as well. Mm-hmm. You just can't onboard all of them. And I'm doing everything I can to just keep up with the questions and DMs, just answering people's basic HEX questions, let alone onboarding new people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes a full-time job just explaining the nuances of HEX, and now with Pulse and the Pulse HEX, it's essentially a full-time or part-time job. and it's like you're not getting compensated, but you just feel good doing it because it's just that's like what Scotty said. It's just the HEX just makes you more generous and boosts your self-esteem, makes you feel better and more confident. And I don't know if you guys saw, but yeah, the Staker app just upgraded. Now their fees are even lower than the average stake or average like transaction. So they're just continue to innovate. Super impressed with what Steph and Firebun have done. And it's just been amazing seeing the adoption from them, and the average staking length that they have is like over 10 years, I think. So there's definitely adoption, and there's definitely going to be people around, 10, 15 years from now. It's just going to be interesting to see where the price is that time.
Yeah, 100%. Cabana, you reset up? Can you hear us? Do you have good Wi-Fi now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's like something screwed up with the tethering to my laptop. I'm actually on my phone, so it kind of sucks, but whatever. I can go back to a better setup, but I at least wanted to like come to you live from out here because it's gorgeous. But yeah, carry on.
Just trying to flex. That's all. Yeah. So I mean,
it's like kind of nice out here.
I'm gonna try to pull a Santorini flex for you next Friday. We'll see what kind of views I can get.
When are you doing that?
I leave tonight.
Okay, yeah. I thought you said you were leaving today, and I was like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
Tonight, like at 11 p.m. I start my flights. So
wow, how many flights you got?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Damn.
Yep, Istanbul, then Athens, and then a little small plane over to the island.
It's pretty baller,
man. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, that's like some Rick Ross shit, man. That's awesome.
It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be sweet. I got a pretty cool place, but honestly, I've put off this trip now for almost 2 years because I pretty much scheduled it right before the virus. So like I've been putting this trip off for almost 2 years now because Greece has obviously been hit worse than most. And it's funny because like almost 2 years, like 2 years ago, like HEX was like just starting off, and like I didn't know what HEX was going to become, and like I still got a pretty nice place and everything like that. But man, if I knew what HEX was going to do, I'd get the most baller pad ever in Century. I might even still do that, just get one night and just go to like some crazy baller place. But yeah, it's kind of cool to look back because I scheduled this trip literally at the conception of HEX and come a long way since then.
That is awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I remember
there's a lot of things I'd scheduled differently, but I'm also glad that I haven't like overstepped because that also enabled me to get, I think, a better sack of pulse, if you will. So I'm kind of looking back in retrospect. I think it's like I'm okay with that timing, because I really do believe in pulse and HEX. So if I can wait like another 6-12 months, I'm totally cool with that. But yeah, I agree on that timing, man. And oh man, that's so cool.
Well, that's another thing too. It's like, man, I want to start doing some of these HEX flexes, but I mean, I'm still haven't really touched any of my HEX. Like I'm just holding on to it because I just know where we're going. Like I want to spend as little of it as possible when I buy my first Rolex, when I buy maybe car. Like, I mean, honestly, if I can just continue to use fiat like I have been, that's the plan. But yeah, I just know we're going to $1 pretty soon here. So why start spending? Why start spending on HexFlex now? I'll let the other Hexicans do that and just keep my bags going up.
I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks, Big K.
Why would you sell now? Like before you get a copy of it for free. Like that doesn't make any sense to sell now. If you don't need the cash, it doesn't make any sense, right? I'm sure everyone.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the amazing advertisement because I don't know if you guys have noticed. There's no other crypto community right now that's flexing Lambos, Maseratis, McLarens, multiple Lambos, trailers, golf courses, houses, mansions, like Rolexes. No one's doing that besides Hexicans right now. Like the market's just finally seeing a little bit of a bounce. Meanwhile, Hexicans have just been balling out straight through this little temporary bear we have and potentially going into a bull trap, which is going to be more pain for the rest of the market, but probably not for us.
Yeah, it's funny you guys talking about like HexFlex stuff. I planned like 3-4 years ago, whatever, to upgrade my home and move in to a much bigger house, like 6,000 square feet or whatever. I'm currently living like a 2,000 square foot house.
6,000 is pretty big.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
so I have a family and like that. So we're running out of space, and we need more room. And I always planned for it to be around this time. And Pulse is coming out, and it's like I don't want to sell anything. So I'm doing everything I possibly can, digging into everything I possibly can to not sell any crypto whatsoever. And it's tough because I don't even want to sell like any of my ERC20s or whatever I'm holding, because they're gonna get copied. So I really don't want to sell anything. So I'm like taking out equity in my house now. Like I'm doing everything I possibly can to not dip into crypto.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty amazing in general, the fact that, like, I saw that meme that Hexologists just sent out earlier. They're like, Richard creates the highest appreciating asset of 2020 and then convinces us to give it back to him. You're just like, amazing. I mean, it's incredible. It's and it's exactly what it does. Is you're so in. I mean, you make so much sense, and then you have this new thing coming out that, like, a lot of people, I think, were planning on taking gains at, a year and a half, 2 years in, I'll take some gains off of this if there's something there, but then now you've got a reason to maybe delay that gratification a little bit longer.
Absolutely, that's what I've been doing too. I'm pushing everything back. I get stakes that are coming out. I'm just like, screw it, 5. I'm not even going to take any of the interest right now. Just screw it. Just push it all back. I don't need the money, so whatever. I'll just push it back. That's what. I need a little bit now for the house, whatever, down payment. But yeah, it's been funny, this whole SAC thing. Getting towards the end here, it's been awfully quiet. I think a little too quiet with what's going on right now with the SAC phase. It's like going very smooth. You think it's done?
I think it's done.
No more surprises.
I like it.
No, let's hear about your surprises though. What do you think's in store?
There could be a lot. There could be a lot.
The people want to know, Scotty. The people want to know what's in store. What do you think's in store? I think it's done. I don't think we see any surprises. I think all the major whales have their positions. I don't think they're going to pump their competition's bags. I've said it before. Like, I think we're pretty much done. I don't think people are going to get necessarily the pumps they want. I don't think it really starts to come until after the SAC phase.
Now, what are we talking about, though? I do think that we'll get some more sacrifices overall. Like, you'll get a lot more smaller sacrifices that should come in towards the end. But as far as price pump goes, yeah, you're right. I don't think I've been saying that, like, the price pump microcosm kind of happened, and like now we're in that whale suppression point, and then like the next time that they would have any sort of inclination or reason to pump the price that hard, it would be when they're trying to accumulate more HEX before the snapshot date. Up to the right.
Yeah, I think there's going to be plenty of sacking still, because with that flat 1.75 multiplier.
Getting on the expressway.
That 1.75 multiplier is going to be advantageous to the smaller bags that have waited this long to sack, and they didn't get the price pump they wanted, so they probably weren't going to get a nice multiplier anyways because of the volume phase. So you might as well wait. I believe it's tomorrow, right? This is the last day of the volume phase, so they'll wait till tomorrow and at least get a 1.75x multiplier. So
yeah, we've got
you'll see a lot more sacks, but I don't think you're going to see much of a price pump. I think those guys, the smaller guys, they probably already have their HEX bags that they're ready to sacrifice. I don't think there's going to be too much buying activity.
You go first, John.
Okay.
Come on, Scotty. I set you up so perfectly to spill the beans.
Yeah.
I want to see how far John's going to take it.
John will ease you in. Ease him in, John.
So, obviously, no financial advice, all speculation as far as what's going to happen. I have no idea, but the chain analysis says that a lot of the large HEX whales have not sacked. So yeah, we've seen large sums. I think with 3.1 billion HEX the total, but we've seen a lot of smaller sacrifices. And I still believe that the OA is going to sack, but not sack with HEX. They're going to sack some Ethereum or some stable coins, because my common sense hat says that the coin that he previously founded, he likes to preach the benefits of economic centralization. And with Pulse, the Genesis address is going to receive about 1% of the supply. So if you want economic centralization and the coins in the strongest hands possible so that the price can appreciate over the long term, as long as it fulfills its, its use case, then you're going to have the OA of sorts, or the entity, or whatever you want to call it, own more of the supply. Therefore, they can be the main validators of the system, also ensuring that the network is secure, and then just ensuring that there's no bad actors, because in a proof of stake system, you can't have the bad actors have a large supply of the coins. So I believe that we will see sacrifice total over $5 billion, if not more. So I think a lot of the money is coming in later. I think everyone's waiting to the end to do it because they like the 1.75 bonus.
$5 billion. So let's say that's like 4 point something billion dollars the OA sacks. How much of that is like of their supply they have? Like how much would that be?
Well, no one knows, right? Because it's just like we don't know exactly how big their bags are. Just because
Gunther knows.
I mean, he probably has an idea. But I think
where'd you come to the 5 billion number? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Okay, so essentially, if the OA based on HEX owns about 90% of the supply, I did the inverse of that, divided what we've currently raised, about 600 million, divided by 0.1, and that gave me about $6 billion. So if we get a total of $6 billion, that would mean the OA could sacrifice about $5 billion. And then if the whales and some of the God whales, Genesis whales, also partake in the late stages of the sacrifice phase, they can also sacrifice much larger amounts. That's why I'm saying we could go up to 10 billion, if not more, because there could be manipulation on the price upwards by the God whale, who has 74,000 ETH and 185 million HEX just in that address. So there's a lot of games that could be played, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but that's my speculation.
The cool thing about the flat rate too is the OA is not going to fuck with everyone that's already like put their money in too, right? Like so they get to keep their multiplier through the volume phase. So it's a fair way for the OA to come in and just not like literally shit on everyone that donated millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars to this.
Yeah, it's a game. Richard made up a game for the whales to play. That's the whole point of the volume phase in general. And so like having the OA come in before these last 3 days would ruin the game. And so like why create a game to just ruin it yourself? Like that, what, that doesn't make any sense. So like you still want to entice the whales to be to get their 2x or 2.5x or whatever they think they can get, but yeah, I do think that there will be some. I wasn't expecting those are some large numbers, but by the validators needed, and that's pretty spot on.
We have a few vanity metrics that we should look to hit, and some of those metrics are the EOS 4 billion. I think it's 4 billion, right? 4 billion raise, whatever they did. I think to outpace that would be a nice little. We outdid that or whatever. We have a nice 10,000x. Now's the time. You want to pump the HEX price to 50 cents and above. Now you could do it, and you can quote the whole, say 10,000x.
Or just wait for after the sack phase.
You could. Well, how about we do both? How about we pump now for the sack, and then pump
I think
after.
Yeah, I think the weight comes in, but the price doesn't appreciate as high until after the sack phase. But it does appreciate. I do think we will see some pumpage before mainnet goes live.
So I was watching the sacrifice account on ETH, at least for the first couple of days, and whoever controls that address was pulling out. I think within the first 2 days they had already pulled out like 25 million, and it looks like they were just continuously pulling. Like if you guys go back and look at all the out transactions, I'm sure it's continued to pull out millions and millions and millions of dollars out of there. So I imagine that it could just be just like what John and Scotty were saying, just loading up ready for loading up for that. But I mean, so we're still not saying anything about price pumping, correct? Unless, like Scotty says, unless he just wants to just send off fireworks during the sack phase.
You talk about HEX price pumping. I think so. I think definitely. I mean, you have entities like John said, the God Whale sitting on 70,000 whatever ETH that can just put in a seventh of their stack and it'll 10x the HEX price easily. And maybe he's going to lose conviction on his Ethereum holdings. Maybe he sees it going down and getting cut in half the last few weeks. maybe you might want to part ways into something that could appreciate better in Pulse.
And that was a good point that Joe just brought up with like 2 monster stakes coming out. So a lot of these big stakes are the OAs, and of course that's going to increase our market cap a lot too. So if it decides to pump the price, has these large supplies of HEX coins being minted, I think it has a couple good accounted stakes as well. We could literally, another metric we could hit is flip Bitcoin, flip Ethereum. Like, we could go, it could shoot us to #1 if it wanted to, just by minting some more coins and pumping its own price of HEX, which would be pretty wild to see.
Okay, so so that's the upside, right? That's the optimistic view, right? Is if God whales and other people that haven't gotten involved are waiting to the last minute because
now
they
for the other side,
because they're waiting for the other whales to make moves, right? It's like it's a larger whale game, and then it's a larger whale playing another game. So if that's the case, the OA is probably the biggest actor, and then the God whales are probably second. And then the God whale also has more liquid HEX in their wallets that are associated with that address. So it's not just the 188 million. It has another 85 million somewhere and another 36 million. So it has, plenty of powder to throw in at any given time between, tonight, whenever the rollover period is, to Monday at the end of the period. So with the liquidity size so small, obviously there's a lot more upside potential. And then the kicker is on UniV3, we have the Magic Carpet Ride bid support at 5.5 cents all the way down to 1 cent or something. I don't even know I couldn't even see how far it goes down. But essentially there's 100K USDC bids on the buy side at 5.5 cents and down. So that means we're never going down below 5.5 anymore unless those bids get removed. Or some huge bags are unloading have to emergency unstake and unload their bags, which then the staker class would benefit from. So we're in a good position right now, basically.
Well, I think the V3 side is only 25%. So, I mean, what if would it take more to counteract whatever, because there's not as much liquidity in the V3 side to counteract that or whatever, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think it would get arbed down, but since in V2 you can't set those the liquidity orders like that, you just have to set limit orders. Yeah, you just set limit orders. So on V2,
Is there stuff in Matcha, whatever, that you see?
You can look on Bamboo Relay. Yeah, there's still some bids on Bamboo Relay, but I don't think they have moved up to the level of the V3 side.
Evidently, there's another way to track all the USDC limit orders too that Richard mentioned on stream once, but evidently Hexagon told him and didn't want to. Oh, Patrick? Oh.
No, Metric. It's it's Metric Exchange.
Oh, okay. Metric Exchange.
Metric.exchange, cool. And then you just
were you the Hexagon that told him that?
Yeah.
Or was it
someone else told me? Yeah. Okay, I just DM'd it to him. I didn't know if he wanted people to know, but he's been mentioning it now. It's really cool. You can see all the V2 limit orders. It just takes the 0x relayer, which is the 1-inch liquidity, the V2 liquidity. It's pretty cool. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, thanks for telling me late. Jeez. Keeping all the good stuff.
Keeping the good stuff for the sack phase. So some people have theorized that the Magic Carpet Ride includes those bids slowly marching up, and the army of 300 warriors, where they would just slowly march the shields forward, up the hill, and then where the Hexagons are the Spartans. So that is a possibility, right? Since we're in a decentralized market and Uniswap can't be turned off, and none of these limit orders can be turned off, that's a possibility. But obviously, we're told to not have any expectations. But that's a possibility. So if we have very high upside potential if some of these big whales come in late, and we have very minimal downside at 5 to 5.5 cents because of all the bid support, then it's an asymmetrical risk reward play just based on that, right? Just based on the limit orders. And if you can look at this stuff, it can actually help you if you're a trader or if you're a long-term investor. It's good to look at these things as far as understanding the market and where the price action is going to go or where it could go for buying dips and stuff.
I mean, looking at the charts, I can't even see us going down that low. I mean, I really can't. I mean, is it possible? Sure, anything is. I mean, you got what? You got the 200 EMA daily is at 5.5 cents, but we're still in this bull flag thing forming on the daily, and we're respecting it. And the downside resistance to it is 10 cents. and that's lining up with a 50 daily MA and 55 daily EMA. And that's always, if you go back to the previous bull flag we made, like around June, it got front run, the 55 and daily EMA and the 50 daily MA. So I think we're going to get front run again. Maybe we have a dip to like 11 cents or just over 10, and then it's rocket ship and we start blasting upwards. So maybe we're not going to see anything big tonight. That won't play into the whole volume ramp thing. So maybe then some of the big whales come in and they start playing around in the last few days of Sacrifice. That lines up with the charts. It looks really sweet. It would look really nice. It would play out perfect, to be honest.
Yeah, and Hex has just been painting bull flag after bull flag. So
Yeah,
it's just a giant bull flag if you zoom out, the farther you zoom out. So right now we keep painting a bull flag and then we consolidate. We had a capitulation wick actually, which is interesting, which I have down in my notes, which is usually bullish, right? Because those people that sold that down, that was a lot of coins, and they would have sold it. They definitely would have sold it at some point, and obviously they got out at I think an average of 9.26 cents. And we haven't been touched that low since, right? So it's just gave people a good entry, and got a lot of the sellers that were already out, at 20 cents.
We went down to high 7 cents on that. That was a nice wick.
Yeah,
that was a really nice wick.
And the last time,
lasted like 2 minutes.
The last time we got
quick. It was quick.
I mean, based on the chart, the last time we got the capitulation wick was big payday, and 41 days after that, we did a 10x. So usually those capitulation wicks are pretty bullish in the past in Hex. Just looking at the charts, what it's done in the past.
This is very true. I mean, when you see those wicks getting bought up like that, usually I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, to see somebody try and dump the price that hard and to see the feverish purchasing happen as quick as it does, you're just like, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing, really. I mean, somebody left and now they'll have to buy back higher. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I see 10 cents as our new floor. I really do. From past support, moving averages, around 10 cents. It's got to be our floor. That's what I think.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought, like way back in the day. I first saw like 10 cents probably becoming our price floor, even like in a full-on bear market. Even if, like, let's say Hex doesn't do as well as we think it's going to do, like, I don't see Hex really falling back below 10 cents once we're in full-blown bear again.
Yeah, and Richard has the brilliant design of doing, what is it, like the low number bias or whatever, what's that called?
Unit
bias.
Unit bias, yeah. So we're at like these pennies instead of hundreds of dollars, and I still get people coming in like, oh, it's so cheap.
It's so smart because people just see it as just being cheap, like, oh, it's only a couple pennies, like. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's just people have the new people coming in, like, this is their new price floor. This is what they're used to, and they see what Hex is doing and what it's pumping to. So they're like, oh, this thing's going to $1. In their minds, they probably think it's going to $1. Like, they're more convinced than like even we are, because $1 to us is like crazy, but to them, they're coming in on 10 cents, and in their mind, like you said, with the unit bias, it just seems cheap. It just appears cheap. Like, it's such a small thing that Richard did with making such a large supply, and people gave him shit for it at the time. Like, oh, that's way too many tokens, blah, 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 blah. But it really is important for that unit bias because people see that and they just think it's cheap. They think it's a cheap number. And here we're sitting at number 3 crypto already.
I'd go so far as to say that it's so important that he's doing it at a higher degree this next time around in the Pulse. Because
he is.
Honestly, like, I mean, Hex could be very high priced very soon. It could be over $10 or something in the next few years. And then, I'm not saying that like your unit bias argument becomes a little bit harder over time to say Hex does a good job at keeping that solid. Whereas Pulse now has 10,000 times the supply of. I mean, there's going to be more than
it's
there's
amazing.
There's going to be more than double the amount of Hex that's there. So you get a whole nother chance at that. That with an even deeper pool of unit bias for us in our favor. So
I've played with the numbers with multiple zeros in front of the price, and I'm still incredibly wealthy from Pulse with lots of zeros in front. So I'm excited to see what we can eventually do with Pulse down the road.
Yep.
It's gonna be a great time.
Is it going to be like less than a Satoshi then in terms of BTC price? I remember we had that problem in the beginning with HEX. It was like less than, it was like half a Satoshi or
half
something
a
like
Satoshi at
Yeah, I mean,
0.0000056.
What the hell was it? It was something.
It was
People think
4
that was a
zeros,
problem.
5655. It was almost 4 zeros, and Quattro Cinco was almost the lowest price, but it was 56.
But but people don't remember. I mean, like, it's not a thing that often anymore. But I remember being on a couple different exchanges that had like markets for sub Satoshi markets.
Yeah.
So like if you were coins that were only worth a quarter or less of a Satoshi, then you'd find it on like the Litecoin market, and it would only be like paired in Litecoin, and it would be like, it would be a few Satoshis in Litecoin, or whatever, a couple hundred Litecoin Satoshis.
Well, Dragon, that's right. He made
funny,
a comment.
I mean,
he made a comment in there. One hex has 100 million hearts in it. So like, screw Satoshis. We'll just rank Pulse and hearts now. We're taking over the space anyway, so might as well change it from Satoshis to hearts like it should be. Better store value.
How'd you guys like hearing Richard's vision about doing his own MetaMask and doing? Obviously, we knew about the fiat exchange or wherever he's working on that. It's not U.S. based yet, unfortunately. That's what he said. But I can imagine that's going to be very hard to get those licenses for the U.S. He's got to go by state, I think, too, which is ridiculous.
That was a new kind of something he disclosed to us. What do you guys suspect the reasoning is behind for that? I have a couple suspicions, but what do you think the reasoning for that is?
Revealing like his whole game plan or whatever?
No, just for creating his own version of MetaMask.
Oh yeah, I couldn't. I'm trying to think that myself, and I wouldn't know. I guess just get away from all central parties or whatever. I don't know. Have control.
I wonder if it's
decentralized control.
I wonder if it's just. I know you still have to change networks and stuff like that. I wonder if it's still just like an ease of use thing, and then to coincide with this exchange. I mean, if you're going to create the whole ecosystem, you might as well just include your own wallet base as well, because I think eventually he's going to get it to where like you enter into his ecosystem and you exit his ecosystem and you just don't cross into anything else, right? Because he always talks about trying to put as little distractions in front of people as possible. Like he wants them to go buy the superior product. So like, I think eventually
there's multiple types. There's multiple types of walled gardens. He talks about it with the code base. But like, I mean, he's also the exact same thing within your own ecosystem that you're building. So like, that would be every time he has to link to somebody else's shit. Now he has to spend time making sure that like that shit is still worthy and is worth his time. Oh, Matcha now isn't going to list HEX for a minute. Fantastic. Do I have to stop talking about them or not? Okay, they're going to fix it and make it back. Just
he's
all
tired
that shit.
of promoting other people.
Yeah, I mean, he's just everybody else. And to be fair to Richard, what he's really seen and understand throughout this process is that most of the other shit in this space, the same thing I've been saying for a while, is amateur as fuck and could be done much better. So if time isn't a constraint, which then there's a lot of this that he would like to be doing better and be routing around. And I mean, I'm sure that easy use is one of the reasons for MetaMask, but it's also security too. Like somebody else can reroute MetaMask downloads, and there's been plenty of fake versions out there that steal private keys and all the rest. And Richard seems to be better at running servers and making sure to keep things online and protected. So I think that it's also a security thing as well.
I mean, you saw that with the paid founder. He was just in shock of how much stuff he's wants to do, his vision or whatever, and how much work or whatever it is. And he's like, how is this guy really doing all this? Doing it with such precision.
He has a war chest, and he can buy the best of the best devs and pay them more money than they've ever made in their lives. He's got one motivated, very talented team, and a very talented, driven manager that knows both sides, right? Like, we take it for granted, just like there is no other founder like Richard, because he's able to he's smart enough on the technical side to understand the code, understand the programming, and then he has the business side that goes with it that other founders are lacking, like Vitalik and a lot of these other guys that are just savants when it comes to code, but then they miss some of the crucial aspects and just don't realize that at the end of the day, adoption really comes with being able to make number go up is what it all comes down to.
Yeah, and all these other platforms that he brings up, like it all could bring adoption to all the other platforms. Like, you build we're building the platform in Pulse, and then that you can see right now that's bringing more eyes to HEX, the store value play. You can see people were shady or like they're like indifferent on HEX, or they didn't understand it, but they know Pulse. It's so easy to understand Pulse, Ethereum fork, and people just get it right away. And then people that were confused about HEX, they give it another look, and it's huge. You can see the same stuff when he's building the fiat exchange or whatever. It's going to bring eyes to the whole ecosystem, whatever he's trying to build. It's huge.
I wonder if people are, and I'm kind of torn on this because that seems to be the common thing, or at least with all these crypto influencers that are coming around now, right, for like PulseChain, because they're like, well, PulseChain makes sense. Like, I get PulseChain, and that's why like I'm much more supportive, and I think PulseChain is going to do well. Like, was HEX really that hard for them to grasp, or was it just because the fact that initially it was the whole scam narrative and all that nonsense with HEX, and they just jumped on board and they never gave it a valiant effort that they weren't able to understand it? I mean, I guess I'm a little biased in the fact that, yes, HEX can become very complex if you peel back the layers, but I mean, you can also make it very simple as well and still understand what a valuable store, like how good of a store value it is, on the fact that it just earns you trustless yield as well without having to give up your keys. Like, to me, you can make it very simple, still understand how amazing HEX is, but it seems to be these narratives, at least with the influencers of the space, that like, oh yeah, HEX was just too complex, that's why we didn't get it initially, but Pulse, we get Pulse. Is it really that, or are you just like, how successful HEX was, you knew you screwed up, and are you just here to try to catch a ride on his next magic carpet?
You're totally right on that, Molly. That second part, like Brandon was saying, is definitely the latter, because I mean, if these guys are influencers and they're into crypto, you're not totally stupid. And they missed out. You got it totally right. They missed out.
Scotty,
and
it depends on which one you're talking to.
How about the crypto face stream there? He has no idea anything about crypto.
Well, I'm being nice, but
yes, very nice.
Just as a general point, though, it's like, yeah, it's frustrating because I think it's going to be a crutch that Motley just laid out for you and identified that they're going to lean on, and it's be like, oh well, HEX was couldn't figure it out, or T-shares and stuff, it's too complicated. No, it's not really. I mean, if you spend some time looking at it, I mean, even BitBoy is apparently confused by it still. Come on, really? No. But and he's like, Mr. 1.1 million subs on YouTube. You can't be confused by HEX, but it's totally right. They're gonna rely on that as a crutch because Pulse, I think, is the next big thing, and they don't want to miss out on this. Yeah, they're not going to, and they're like, messed up with HEX. They're not going to do it again.
No, and let them do that, man. I'm totally cool with them acting and playing dumb. I mean, that's fine, Like, I have no problem with that. Hey, y'all, I'm about to pull up to my dinner here, so I'm gonna rug pull this stream, guys. I apologize, but I got a hot date here in the car with me, and I'm gonna make it happen. So I'll catch y'all real soon.
I know you deprived her of music this whole time.
I know. It's just,
you owe her a nice dinner now.
I do owe her a nice dinner. Yeah. What's that?
All right, man.
Did we get to check out the ride? Did you already do?
Yeah. Give us an outside view real quick.
Oh yeah. Well, shit. We're in a stoplight here. When we pull up here in a sec, I'll be able to give a little quick view of the joint.
I'm sorry, Big K's wife.
All right. Oh yeah. Here we go.
Really?
Pull as tight over as you can here.
Oh, and the cops coming.
He's getting arrested.
Yeah, there you go. I'll give it a quick tour. Hang on. Hit the park. Let's stop. There you go. Ready? Going. Doors. Ignite. All right.
And there we go. Come back to me, Kirk. Let's show and tell time. Come on. Ah. All right, we might have to bring everybody back. I think we lost him. We lost him. All right. All right. Well, there's show and tell for this week. Sorry, fam.
It's all right. We all know what a Tesla looks like.
We've been spoiled the past few weeks, but yeah. He might be trying to come back on, but yeah, rugged. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Here we go.
There we go. Let's see the Tesla.
Oh, going. Fantastic features. Luxurious ride. The coolest thing is getting into one of these things because you just like stand up, like I'm like straight standing up, like no like just sit on down. You just hit the buttons and plug me in. All right, gentlemen. That's been a very short Big J's with Big K, but this is a lovely, fantastic ride. The screen here is giant, but other than that, I mean, it's a comfortable, charming ride. I suggest.
I forgot how awesome the doors are.
Yeah, those are the coolest
those
part by
sick.
far. It's super sick. You can like stand right. If you're like 7 foot tall, it's still comfortable to get in, even in the third row. You can still be standing the whole time. That's really
crazy.
really cool.
That's cool.
So anyways, y'all have a kick-ass time. I'll catch y'all real soon.
Enjoy dinner.
Yeah, bro. Enjoy
everyone. It's a little like a DeLorean-esque.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
Back to the future.
A little bit better lines than the DeLorean, though.
A little bit. DeLorean's ugly as hell, but it's so iconic.
The Cybertruck probably takes some of its inspiration and lines from the DeLorean.
Yeah, right?
And the stainless steel.
It hits like 88 miles per hour or whatever it is. What happened?
Struggling to probably hit that.
So back to the YouTube thing. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think that a lot of them are playing dumb. Like BitBoy's playing definitely dumb a little bit. He just doesn't want to admit it or whatever. But I think a lot of them also just don't get it. Like I really, they're like the whole.
It's definitely both.
Yeah,
definitely both, depending on who you're talking about.
I mean, I think that just people didn't think Richard was capable of anything like this, anything remotely even close to this, right? So it's just like, he's just that YouTube guy, he's just like us. Like he mentioned this before. It's like they all thought they were his peers, but in reality, he had way more of a skill set, way more experience building business, serial entrepreneur. He was treating this like his baby, and he did everything he could to make sure it was the best thing possible because he has that chip on his shoulder where he's trying to always prove to other people that he's great, right? He has that ego, and it's healthy, and it can become, toxic, obviously, but it's healthy for him in the sense that it makes him want to do big things and go for big goals, right? Audacious goals, which a lot of the, innovators have to be like, right? They have to think audaciously and go for things that are just like never seen before features, like with HEX and now Pulse. They're just never seen before. So like everyone's just like, just stupefied by like, there's no way this guy could do this. So, and that fuels him. So it's been a fun ride.
It makes him the black sheep in the crypto community because you saw it with the Alex Saunders thing, right? Like all these major influencers, they'd all been approached by Alex. A lot of them had given him BTC, had given him a crap ton of money. And none of them got paid back. None of them got paid back. A lot of them gave him all these loans. A lot knew that they approached him. Like a lot of them knew about all this, and not a single one said a word. Like they all flocked together. It's like the little clique at the high school. It's like your social circle. You don't want to step on anyone's feet or anything like that. Richard's that black sheep of the group, and happens to also be one of the most talented out there. And he calls that shit out for what it is, right? Like he's out here to improve people's lives, make people wealthy, provide money for medical research, for longevity. He's here to make the world a better place. And when he sees a scammer out there, like he posted those DMs, and he even said it. He's like, I hate to post DMs. He's like, I've never posted DMs in my life, but he's like, this needs to be put out there because people are literally getting taken advantage. This guy is out there maliciously hurting people, going in there, stealing as much money as he can with zero intentions to ever pay them back. The guy has a gambling problem. And on top of that, he's maliciously going out there trying to take other people's money as much as he can. And the entire other crypto influencers, they all knew about it. And yet they stayed quiet. And it took someone that have the balls like Richard to come out and actually just man up and show him like, hey, this guy's a scumbag. You guys need to fucking call this guy out or something because this is ridiculous. And then he followed it up with another tweet. He's like, guys, if this dude has tried to scam you for money, like post that shit. I think BitBoy was the next one to follow up, and then numerous other influencers after that. But it took someone like Richard to actually lead the way and be a leader, not a follower, not a sheep, and put that out there so people didn't continue to get hurt by this scumbag.
He does what's right, and he does the tough things like using the clunky language too. That we use now, sacrifice phase, all that stuff. He tries to do everything the right way, even if it is the clunkier, harder way.
And that shows you his in-depth, like he looks at every nook and cranny, right? Like that's his business side. He sees it. He realizes what the tax implications are of calling it something, making it a sale instead of a sacrifice, or this having value when it's dropped instead of having no value. Like he looks at the tax implications. He looks at all these things that a lot of developers either they don't know about, they don't realize what they're causing, or they don't give a shit. Either way, he looks at all sides of the token, and it's for the betterment of his followers, of his community that he's built. And then that's why he has such a loyal following. People view people that worship Richard as like a cult, but he's literally made these people the richest, healthiest, improved their families' lives, the people around them. Like, why wouldn't you follow a person like that almost with a cult-like zealous? Because he's a leader that's going to improve your life and improve your family's life and potentially improve the rest of humanity's life. Like, why would you not want to follow someone like that with a passion?
I just wish you kind of remembered on stream about the DMs. Like midstream, you had an epiphany. Like, oh wait, I remember this guy. And then he would just
how does he
DMs.
not? I don't know how he didn't remember that.
He's talking to so many people.
You saw it click on his face too, right when he was going to shill his link. You saw the realization come on his face. He's like, "Oh hell no!" and like just ended it. First time we ever saw that too, right? And then of course Alex tried to like claim he's like, "Yeah, I got him." Like he ended the stream. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I remember you now," and like posted all that crap. And I was just like, "Oh shit." Yeah, you can see the epiphany just come on his face right at the end. But yeah, I think it's just because he's got so much going on that it's just sometimes you forget. I think he said he tweeted a couple days ago. He's like, yeah, I just realized I have like 200 DMs to answer. And again, that's another aspect of him, right? Like the dude's literally a billionaire, and he'll go around and answer every single person's DMs. Like every time I've ever asked Richard a question, and he could answer without any sort of legal implications, because sometimes I ask him stuff that I know he really can't answer. He responds.
Yeah, and it's only in crypto can you have a crypto founder start a Me Too movement about getting scammed, right? Or almost getting scammed, right? So it was like, oh, I was also raped by this guy. It was kind
he
of
also raped my Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, and it's crazy to see. I mean, I'm sure there's many more people out there like that, right? Just hiding under this facade of great paid groups and technical analysis and stuff. And it's just like Richard did everything possible with HEX. Like just one of the things that I think about, like with Pulse and related to HEX, is like he did the Bitcoin free claim. It would like bleed over time. Like if he was just a haphazard founder, he wouldn't have put any of that stuff in, right? He cares about all the nuances and the fundamentals, but got no credit for all those fundamentals, right? People are just like, why are you adding all this stuff? Why is there a referral program? Why is there, the decaying like Pulse airdrop, right? He's thought of all these things and learned from all these mistakes that other projects have done, right? Like giving the Mt. Gox people all that Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. You touched on it there. He's doing the same with Pulse, and it's like, okay, use it or lose it kind of thing. And it's not just like Giving Tree, free for all. There has to be some effort on the other end there, and it's very cool to see that from a founder. think to that level far out and be like, okay, if you're really in, then you should probably, take these steps to ensure the health of the overall community. So I'm hoping, I'm confident it's a good step, but I hope people actually take that seriously and, go forward with it and use it and get hooked and, enjoy the cheap fees and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I also love that he came to the realization that he doesn't have to do as much of the whole free thing, like free claim thing or whatever, as HEX, because he did it before because he didn't have anything solid there already. Like now he has HEX, like a solid product that's already there, so his reputation's out there that he can create a crypto, a solid product. That he doesn't have to do this whole like free claim over a year kind of thing with Pulse now, and he thinks of that, and he does it for only 30 days now. It's just brilliant, and not even do as much too, which is
that's another thing we haven't talked about. Like that's just another almost free way that entity is going to get more Pulse, right? Like so, let's say a minimum the supply is like 1.5 trillion Pulse. Essentially, the OA like entity for Pulse is going to get a majority of that, right? Because Richard talked about it on his stream before. Vitalik has 300,000 Ethereum. He has essentially worth about $30 worth of Pulse. Just someone like Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum. So how many people are really going to go in there and grab their dust of their dust? Like I have a couple ETH. Do you think I really care about grabbing those couple Pulse as opposed to what I got in the sacrifice phase? No, I don't care. Like it can take it back, right? So, and that's what he said. After a month, it's all going to get taken back. So that's going to be at least a 1.5 trillion coins. That probably a majority of that is going to go back to that entity, because it's not only do you have to move it from that wallet, but if you ever move that same balance back in there, it's still gonna yoink it from you. So I think in the end, almost all that Pulse that's going to get free airdrop to the Ethereum, the 1-to-1 ratio, it's just going to go back to the central entity. So that's another way it's going to claim another free 1.5 trillion coins, which is pretty nice. Good little chunk for it, not having to sacrifice or invest any sort of money to claim those coins.
Yeah, because we're not going to move, whatever we put into SAC or whatever, we're not going to move the Pulse to try and keep that little freemium.
Nope.
It's just not worth the headache of just even moving it or whatever. So yeah, it's a great thought too.
Briz, when is the next Hexagon Fitness Challenge? I thought about doing one.
As he's on the beach just drinking every day.
What are you talking about?
When's the last time you worked out?
Dude, I ran this morning like 4 miles.
Okay. Running doesn't count. Cardio is gross.
I don't want big old man boobs when I'm like 65. So anyway, but
you got those stakes, man. You got those 555s. You gotta be
exactly.
around.
I thought about this, Briz. Sacrifice is like summer, so everybody's on vacation. The big payday one was kind of cool because it was like fall for most people. So maybe I'll think of one for the winter because everybody's so busy during the summer. But yeah, I have thought about it. So and it was cool, especially with so many more Hexagons on board after big payday. I think we could grow it something really cool there. So yeah, definitely think about it, man. Anon, I mowed the lawn today. Fitness day win. Congratulations.
So we talked about Richard's vision. So we covered like the wallet, the exchange. You have your product or app, your killer app in HEX.
I feel a stable coin coming on.
And see, I missed all that.
There's that too.
I don't know what you all covered, so I'm like catching up here. But yeah,
I don't know what he's going to do towards the whole stablecoin stuff. That's going to be fascinating. I think maybe he would want to see if USDC doesn't want to hop on the bandwagon or something and say
possibly. Last he
wait.
mentioned on his stream though, he was going to create one. So again, I think it just kind of goes back to like at this point, everything that he has in the works or he's created already. I think at this point he'd just rather create his own infrastructure. So I think Coffee's talked about this before too. It's just like once you become vertically integrated and you have all aspects of the entire ecosystem, why do you need to rely on all these other systems? And USDC is corrupt anyways, right? Like they can freeze all the assets at any point. Like that's not good. That's for the long term of crypto. Like that's awful when that's the majority of people keeping their stables in, and then at any time that can just be frozen. it's not. It needs to be fixed at some point. And again, what other person in the space better for that than Richard to start working on? So I actually personally prefer him to build his own instead of reaching out to USDC at this point.
Yeah, I think it could very well be like becoming the Amazon of crypto, which I
Good.
totally,
We're rich as fuck then.
I totally be on board that. Now it's like, you know, some people bitch. It's like, oh, centralization of one guy, but he's building it. He doesn't need it like for himself. Like Bezos doesn't need Amazon anymore, kind of thing. You know, the crap's built. But just in terms of like censorship and whatnot, it's like, you know, here in the States, you know, regardless of your political beliefs, one side does control the media and the pipes and everything like that. Crypto, do you want that, you know, clogged up by Binance owning their ranking sites and exchanges, or do you want this as decentralized as possible with, you know, stablecoin and all the layers, the exchange, time deposit? Yes, I want that. And the man to build it is Richard Hart. So I'm down with it.
Yeah. The key word that Molly said was vertical integration, right? Like that's what, like from this legacy stock perspective, like that's what a lot of the companies aim to achieve to optimize their revenues and their, you know, all the profits, because they've done the analysis. They know that you know, owning all the supply chain and the distribution, everything is actually more profitable for the company. So if we do that with that analogy to the Pulse network, and then, you know, HEX, the fiat exchange, hopefully for US in the future, encapsulated stakes, margin trading, liquidity mining, like if all these things are available to us, we'll be the shining citadel on the hill, and we won't have to ask permission from these gatekeepers to do anything, right? The whole point of having FU money is to have freedom and to do what you want with your life and with your time and with your resources. So I think Richard is just building that. He's building the infrastructure. He knows it's going to take time, but it seems like he's working on like 5 or 6 things all at once. So obviously you have to hire well, you have to get good talent around you, but it seems like that's where our trajectory is heading. And hopefully, you know, Pulse will be adopted by more people than HEX was, right, from the outside world. But we'll have to see. That's what's the fun part. And the speculative stickiness of HEX and Richard Hart projects has only gone up over time, because now we're going to have 3 prices to check. We're going to have liquidity mining to check, you know, like farming. You're going to have margin trading, hopefully, and all these other things that are going to just bring more speculation and eyeballs to the space and to what Richard's up to. And then slowly over time, people will realize that he's legit, and it's not a scam, and it's not just a money grab. It's for, you know, positive innovation in space.
Yeah, I had Hex Dragons comment up there about Richard becoming the bank, which is just funny because I've caught up on Billions. Whoever watches that is a great show. I love it.
Great show.
Bobby Axelrod trying to become a bank, and, you know, Richard, you know, that just be too funny, the parallels there. That's what I thought of. But yeah, it's a great show. Anybody loves financial.
Excellent show.
Yeah,
excellent show. I love Damian Lewis. He's a great actor.
Yep. Yeah, and so many great characters on that show. Wags is hilarious.
Taylor.
Yep, Taylor's great, and
I like the bald guy. The guy who says he's not uncertain. He gets like the inside information. Can't remember his name right now.
Yeah,
that guy. He's probably my favorite.
Dollar Bill.
Yeah, Dollar Bill. Yeah.
Dollar Bill,
yeah.
And then what's his face's hot wife?
Oh, the psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, she's just the pretty one. That's fine. That's okay. But yeah, she's super smart and a great character. And yeah, that whole show is just awesome. It takes a lot of great characters. We're totally off topic now, but it's such a good show for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. And it's coming back 2 months from now. I think they're finally picking up the second half of the 5th season, because they only got through 7 episodes. And, you know, due to the virus shutdown and all that, so they're finishing that up. So that's awesome. What else? We might have Freddie Quotes join us here in a minute, just FYI for everybody. Just catching up on some chat here. Going down like the rundown list, I didn't miss it just due to my technical issues out there. In terms of the OA staking, I think John, you were saying your thoughts were like in total at the end was 5 billion.
You're way late.
I did the
Well, that's what I'm trying to-
No, I'm just letting you know, like we went pretty in depth on that earlier.
Yeah,
I did the paper napkin math and just did what we've currently raised, like $600 million roughly, divided that by 10%, got to 6 billion, right? Because that means the OA would own roughly 90% of the supply, similar to how HEX is, right? So that was just the rationale. Obviously, the numbers could be way off.
And then we
either
conveniently beat out EOS too.
Yes, and then it's going to be a good
That's right.
headline, right? Like Pulse raises the most in history, also donates, 50 million to charity.
Yep.
This is the largest crypto airdrop. Like it's just amazing press for
Mhm.
Richard and anything that Richard's built. And Aubrey de Grey is like crying on stream. It's pretty
Yeah,
awesome to see
yeah.
because I've been following him for a while too because I'm into longevity and anti-aging stuff as well. And it's just like crazy to see the impact that the Hexicans and the Pulsicans have had in like the real world. Like this is real world stuff happening, not just digital intangible assets, right? This is real world value being provided.
Yeah, and it reminds me actually a lot of Big Payday if that situation that you're thinking of plays out because the OA would not screw the initial investors day 1 through 15 or whatever if it came in towards the end. It would be acting in the best interest of the project / product, and it would be a way to kind of oversee everything but also not screw everybody who believed in it first and foremost. And I think it's a great it's exciting to think about. I mean, we got 3 days and 6 hours or something like that.
Damn. Cabana bringing the deja vu.
But that's where my mind went.
Yeah, it's like the dilution, right? It's like how in Big Payday everyone's getting diluted every day, and everyone was crying really hard, like, I can't believe this is happening.
But
I thought I was
end,
going to get this. Yeah, and it worked out in the
you
end.
want that on your side, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the long term. Yeah, it was for the long term greater good, right? But people in the moment could not see the forest from the trees, right? They were just so focused on their Big Payday going down and the price going down. But if you had held, if you just held until your stakes have matured, like you're looking now, these Big Payday stakes are just yielding 70-80% ROI on and it doesn't even have to be that long of a stake. It's pretty absurd. The
BTC free claimers that just wanted to jump on Insta Dump, they got hurt the most because the people that heard about HEX later on were forced to then stake through Big Payday, so they got it, and that really hurt them the most, which is probably the best because they just wanted to insta dump it, and they didn't have double the stack to dump. Now they only had only 30% extra, so it was huge what he did, and we're seeing some of the free claimers having an effect earlier. But they're all basically getting washed out. They're all basically just selling, and they're gone. So it's great.
Yep, and a lot of them are bleeding out right now, and their 100 week countdown has just continued every week, blowing 1% every week. So those are large stakes because they had Big Payday in them. They're like 10 million plus. HEX, that's millions of dollars now. So those are all bleeding. So something came to my mind too is for people that think they've missed the boat in HEX, if you stake now, you are buying into a share of the entire penalty system in existence, right? So someone that was in on day one is going to get those penalties, but if you stake today, you would also get those penalties moving forward. So all those late penalties that the Bitcoin free claimers are bleeding out to, all the late people that are just not Bitcoin free claimers, just regular Hexagon users, all the early end stake penalties that are going to happen in the future, you're buying into that. You're getting a share of all of that moving forward. So that's a huge revenue source, especially as people do that once they get as time goes on, the USD value of those coins, while they may be cheaper now, if they're in the future now worth dollars, you just came up big, right? So that's another incentive to stake and stake long because you're just getting in
USD value, and just all that interest accrues once these longer stake, we start getting out to the 15-year mark, and we're halfway there, and people just want to receive their principal because Hex is at like $100 and they don't care anymore. Like, can you imagine all that interest that's accrued for 7.5 years just getting distributed to everyone when Hex is multiple dollars, $100 or whatever, and then all that interest gets distributed to the staker class, and all of us still have, like this group right now, all these people here right now still have T-shares, where in that time, 7.5 years, most people will not be able to afford a T-share. Most people will be buying B shares, maybe even getting into M shares at that point. And then all that interest just gets distributed out to the staking class. Oh my God, it's gonna be like a big payday every time a stake ends early.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Hexagon America, new to the channel, was all from the Richard interview the other day. So far, good people, good content, new sub. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Good group here, and we have so many great streamers that are just pretty much around the clock now. It's pretty awesome. So, speaking of other good dudes, Freddie Quotes, man, you stuck in DC traffic?
Yep. There might be an echo. Do you hear an echo? If so, I can grab my headphones out of the back.
I think you're all right. Good enough right now.
It's not the best audio, but it's not the worst.
How's everyone doing?
Good, bud.
Great. Better than you right now, man.
What'd you say?
Said better than you right now. DC traffic sucks on a Friday.
Look, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like
bad.
Oh, it's not bad at all.
Sucks the other way.
We're about to cross over the bridge into Maryland. We're going to Chesapeake Beach for the weekend. Little pool party at my in-laws.
Word.
Sounds nice.
Should be fun. Not as nice as Greece, but
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm just.
My wife is like, I'd rather be going to Greece right now.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time, bro. I'm looking forward to next year when you were talking about doing that fishing tournament. I'm excited to do that next year. We need to do it.
It's gonna be awesome, man. So Cabana and I just chartered a boat for Jeep Week. We're going up to Jeep Week in Ocean City in August, end of August, and Cabana's coming out. I might have an extra spot.
Leon, let me
want to make it out.
Let me know. Let me know.
All right. I'm waiting on one guy to figure out. But yeah, man, if I got a spot, it's all yours, brother.
Yeah, I might be in the middle of a move. I might not. Just depends. Not sure on the timing yet. So yeah, just let me know if you have an open spot.
Cool. When's your last day in the military?
Technically it's October 15th, but I mean I go on terminal August 20th, and I'm taking most of the leave up for this Greece trip. So like I'll come back for a few days, get my stuff in order, and then August 20th I'm out, essentially out.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a DD 214 blanket to wrap around myself, my exit papers.
Very cool, man. Very, very cool.
Financial freedom and freedom from the government. It's a 1-2. I'm pretty excited.
Absolutely. Awesome. You set yourself up for a good future, man.
True. Very true. Thank you,
Good
Richard.
to see you, John. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Freddie? How you doing, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. What's going on over here? So, yeah, man, dude, that everything that you guys have been saying has been spot on, man. Like, the Richard stream where he called out Alex or whatever, and then all the other influencers like kind of like rode his coattails coming out. None of them had the balls to say anything about it, and then it's just so frustrating, man. It's just there's no leadership in the crypto sphere. Like there's no leadership at all. Richard is like the only guy who has the balls to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I DM'd Richard like last 2 weeks ago, and I sent it to Scotty. I told him he's the best crypto founder ever. Probably.
Yep.
You know, like you looked at everyone, you took inventory, and the only person I could think of was Vitalik, because I just love Vitalik. And just because I was in ETH early too, so I'm biased. But other than Vitalik, I think Richard's probably best, and then Vitalik second, like as far as just like innovator in the space goes, like the innovation and the tech. You know, I'm not in it for the tech, but it's pretty cool to see Richard, like he's basically cemented himself. And with Pulse, if it goes well, like we all expect, he will, I think, cement himself as the Michael Jordan of crypto. I mean, I'm sure other people have other people, but
he's coming for all the rings.
How it is for me. He's got one ring so far. He's got HEX, Pulse, maybe some other coin. Maybe stablecoin will be.
I'm actually getting custom HEX and Pulse rings made too, so I can bling out like Richard.
Nice.
loved what he said about not wasting time building a wallet because it takes an extra year. I mean, that was a shot straight at Charles, man. At least in my opinion.
It's right.
That's fire. Yeah.
Yeah, because what if you're engineers or whatever, you'll just keep delaying because it's not perfect or whatever. You'll never launch. That's what they've been doing.
Yep.
Oh, I did want to ask you guys, or this could be a fun question, is who do you think the large token founders are the ones that are speculating in the Pulse sacrifice phase? Because Richard's hinted at a few. Who do you think they are? Like
Hold
Roger
on, real
Ver,
quick.
obviously.
More importantly, John, Sandy wants to know what kind of shirt are you wearing? They really like your shirt.
I'll have to look. I think I have to look at it. I'm not sure. I'll send him some. Give me a address. I'll send him some if he wants some.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. Because he said what? He had some major founders in the top 20, he said, that were interested, or even top 10?
Yeah, he said a few in the top 20, I think.
Let me
So any guesses? Any guesses, Scotty? I know you're the shitcoin connoisseur, so you might know a little more than me.
I do like some shitcoins, yes. Well, who built Torn? Who's the founder of Torn? Because I think Torn is going to be enormous and huge on Pulse. Because it was basically it's basically what priced out on Ethereum.
Yeah, because the gas it was only
the gas is just it's absurd, but it's all coming over, and that could be. Richard hinted at the whole, his vision. But I was trying to say before about his vision. You said stablecoin. I was thinking more like the whole anonymity. I can't even say the word, but anonymity, whatever. And Torn comes over, and it's going to be practically free to use it or whatever. I mean, I don't care about it really, the whole privacy aspect of it, and it is like a ducked token on it or whatever. But look what Uni did and all those other duct tape tokens at 1 inch or whatever. And Torn is going to have a real use case on Pulse. So I don't know whoever built that. Maybe he's in talks with them. I don't even know where that is in terms of ranking. I have to look right now.
I think
John,
like you said, Roger Ver is a guaranteed lock, right?
Yep.
Like I'm pretty sure he's already well invested into Hex, and at this point there'd be no reason for him not to come in along with Pulse as well. So I think Roger Ver is almost a guarantee for PulseChain as well.
Okay.
I agree. He's always looking for new innovations and coins too. So
do you think
that's the easiest prediction?
Do you think there's been like any hints, or is it just totally nothing that Richard has thrown out there for just could be just on the PulseChain dev end, but thinking like Litecoin and
Litecoin,
Cardano, the Daedalus wallet and all that stuff with integration and things like that, or I think going back to John's initial question, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but weren't you referencing like some of those top 20 coins?
Yeah, top 20, 30, yeah.
Mentioned, because that's really interesting, and I've wondered that myself. I'm like, okay, I'm just like going down the list of, like Chainlink and what's his name, Sergey, or whatever his name is. What else is in the top 10 or top 20? That is up there, and of course, mine goes to like Cardanos and Litecoins and things like that. But
I mean, I thought it was a pretty spot on a few guesses, but then as I keep hearing, the plan unfolding, it's been ruled out. So like, I was pretty certain that maybe you get a Uniswap V3 coming over, but he keeps saying things like doing his own fork of Uniswap. So have the liquidity pools up and running on it, which I think is a brilliant idea.
It might be something in the works still, though. Like the V3 might be coming at some point. They could be still negotiating or talking about it. Because I think he's reached out to him. But worst case scenario, if they don't come over, then V2 it is.
Yeah, because Uni's number 12 right now in Nomics.
Yeah,
12. eCash 13, Chainlink is 14,
and don't forget Richard's a marketer too, right? So like if it's two founders out of the 20, like he's gonna say, yeah, I have several, like
I totally agree.
Yeah, it could be two, and he's gonna play it up to maximum effect for marketing, right? So it could only just be about two.
Yeah, Sergey is the Google founder, and Sergey is also Nazarov of Chainlink. So just
it could be Chainlink.
What about that
Oracle?
Does anyone know that is?
You're breaking up, Freddie.
Breaking up, Fred.
Womp womp. Fucking Maryland. Literally coming across the bridge into Maryland. Maryland's fucking.
It's got awful
Everything about
signal
Maryland.
over there.
At least your video is pretty good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Now you're doing
yeah,
good.
yeah, we can hear you. Go.
Start saying, fuck Maryland. And then I'm going to say, what's that hex swap contract?
Said what?
Does anyone know what that is?
Oh, the hex swap that I think it was
OG 43.
yeah, Day 43 was pulling up. Just he found that in the I think Etherscan and pulled it up. I haven't looked that much into it, but yeah, the Australian stream 3 days ago, he brought that up, and it's just fun speculation. I have not dug into it at all, but I think how many
Some sort of exchange of decks?
if you're thinking like Richard's, looking at a European licensing kind of thing, maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. They were also speculating, and this was like total fantasy speculation. But if like the Hex coin would be somehow like the pair on Pulse, I can't see that happening. But could you imagine? Yeah, they threw that out there. I don't know. It's just fun to speculate about, but I do know what you're talking about, and Day 43 did put that out there. John or Scotty, have you seen that or taken a dive into that at all?
Yeah. What is this? It's have Hex as the main liquidity for Pulse. What was it? I didn't catch it either.
Day 43 just found some contract called Hex Swap on Ether when he was coming through Etherscan. So no one knows what it is.
That uploads the Hex contract.
But I think it was like $1 billion. I mean, it was a large amount of whatever, tokens or whatever was in that thing. So I think that's why it caught his eye.
Well, that'd be Richard's version of forked uni. Is that what you're trying to say?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't think he would. I think he would stay away from the Hex name, to be honest, because I think that's what works the best.
That's
Totally
a good
agree with
point. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Just like with Pulse, so you stay away from the name. You attract the galaxy brains now. That like, if
or he just said fuck him, and he just calls the exchange Hex Swap and just draw more eyeballs to Hex while you're in Pulse and just says fuck it at that point.
Could.
So maybe he does it's a middle finger in everyone's face that they have to go swap their Pulse, that they think Pulse is gonna be so great, but then they have to go mess around on Hex Swap. Good little fuck you in there.
That's fun. Could be interesting.
I'm really looking forward to that. It's not going to be there at launch, but that's my thing I cannot wait for is the whole liquidity mining game stuff. That's going to be so much fun. And to speculate on some of the PRC20s that'll do well, because I guarantee you they're going to have a ton of them dump. That everyone's going to try and insta dump all these random PRC20 tokens, and they're going to go down to like near zero. And then Richard, is going to come out or say something like, this now, all that P-Link you dumped, we're going to have that as a liquidity mining pair now. So you might want to try buy that up, or because you might want to try and use that now to mine Pulse. And everyone's like, oh, shit, we got to buy that up now. So it's going to create a lot of fun game theory stuff, even with the PRC20s.
But, how does that work how are they going to distribute the rewards? Liquidity mining rewards if new stuff is added later.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this. Mr. Wick. Are we going into the topic of conversation now?
No, we don't have to.
Just do it, pussy. God damn it.
Go ahead.
I think we can talk about it. I think because I think it's great.
Let's not drag it out.
Positive. No, it's positive. All right, so the whole the bot, whatever it's called, that grabs the liquidity of the PRC20s. It takes 2.5% of the supply. I think it's I think it's a brilliant play because then you can have some liquidity you can put up for his Uniswap fork, Hex Swap maybe. Who knows? And you can start having these fun little liquidity mining games with Pulse, or to it only helps the Pulse value too. Especially you have like Pulse is one of the main pairs. We've seen it work with QuickSwap as Quick being one of the main pairs, and you can see what it did to the price of that. So I think it's actually a really bullish thing anyway for the whole ecosystem to have something like that, have a reason to come over and use Pulse and buy Pulse so you can do liquidity mining. I think it's huge. What's your thoughts there, John?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we talked about. Is like the FA or the fixer address will get about 2.25% of all the PRC20s, and then they'll be free to do whatever they want with those tokens, right? Like, so if it does become liquidity mining, then and there's a Pulse reward, like I'm sure some of the community is going to come over, or unless they, it's going to be very interesting to see which ones come over, which ones invest in the, the coin on Pulse. I think TrustSwap already said they were going to. So we've had one community come over. We have HEX. There's going to be many more. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the expert on liquidity mining stuff, but I did see the success of QuickSwap and the Matic network, and the speed and the efficiency of that network was amazing to use. So, that's obviously why everyone's so excited about Pulse. It's just so much better to use than Ethereum. It's just like BSC, right? We're just gonna have BSC for HEX, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, the yield farming stuff, it brings adoption. You can look at the Sushi Swap, what they did. I can't think of any others top of my head right now, but it works. You get those. You want everyone to come over, as many people as possible, to use the network. That's what brings adoption. Even if you bring the Degens over, it's still great.
Build the gambling games. Bring the Degens in. We want to burn. We want that Pulse to burn up as quickly as possible. Make it more rare.
You want to clog up the system there?
Well, you also got to think. You also got to think too, right? Because a lot of the validators are going to be suffering major losses initially because there's going to be very few and far transactions far between. So like, regardless of what gets built and everything, like you want to build as much as you can. You want stuff that has active transactions back and forth because let's be real, the main product on PulseChain is going to be HEX, and there's very few transactions as is with HEX. So you do need to bring other ecosystems in there. You do need other transactions. Bring the NFTs, bring the degen stuff. And honestly, they need an ecosystem like PulseChain where the fees are cheap to operate their kinds of transactions, their kind of games, their kind of NFT style stuff. Like they need those cheap transactions, and we'll take that fee burn rate. Validators will collect their fees. People that delegate will be able to pay it out. It's just going to create an overall thriving ecosystem for Pulse. So yes, we preach against DJing and gambling, but I mean at the end of the day, these people are going to do it regardless. So I mean, if they're going to do it, have them do it on our chain, and just we'll thrive for it.
Yeah, and it's like, if you run, own the pipes for that, why not benefit from that if you are an investor in that? Like, we're not going to, well, I would think most Hexicans and Pulseidans or whatever you want to call us, I don't think we're going to like delve into that stuff. But at the same time, why not be invested in it and profit from those who do, while also endorsing good behavior, like we always do.
Another good thing for Hexicans to start considering. I know me and a group of other people were already looking into building stuff, and we've started talks with developers and building stuff on PulseChain. A lot of you Hexicans have a shit ton of money now, so put the growth on PulseChain that you want to see. If a lot of you guys are really smart and have cool ideas, go out there, find the developers that can build it for you. If you don't have the expertise in it, you have the capital, you have the intelligent ideas. Go find the guys that can build it and start building stuff on the ecosystem. Don't wait for other people to come and adopt our system. Let's go ahead and build on it, just like Richard built all this stuff for us. So like it's your turn to, just like we sacrificed all our HEX and we have a lot more economic mass than what we did initially that we could sack in the sacrifice phase. Now you have a lot more economic mass that you can start building in our new ecosystem in the PulseChain. So make it put it on yourself to make PulseChain successful. Don't be sitting there waiting for someone to come to us. You build it. You have the ability to do it now. You have the money to do it. Go out there and make PulseChain succeed.
Yeah, it's like Richard was saying too, I guess in a recent video, just, to pile on your point there, Motley, it's like, Hexkins have money now. You go out and make ads, make videos, get out there, not just, you're talking like building on Pulse, but it goes all the way around the ecosystem. We have more economic freedom to promote this and build it up even more now. So
yeah, I'm excited. Like I've pretty much at this point, the last thing I haven't really dabbled in crypto is just building something, right? Building a token, building a smart contract, being a part of that. And Richard's always talked about that on his streams. It's like the only ways to really get financially wealthy and successful in crypto is hold and be a founder. So like you guys have the ability to be all founders. You're all very smart. You have very good ideas. You've learned from the best guy, implement those and to building something. You can go out there and do that now. So I'm really excited to actually start partaking in that last kind of leg of my crypto journey. Is literally coming up and trying to build something now.
What do you want to build, Motley? Any ideas?
I will not tell you on stream. I will not tell you off stream. It will be built first, and then I'll talk about it. But yeah, have about 3 different ideas. But yeah, that will not be disclosed to anyone until it's done.
Yeah, I'm the opposite one of the smart guys, man. I just want to sit on a beach and chill somewhere.
Yeah, Motley wants to keep building. Maybe you can get him on the boat next month, Freddie, and ask him again.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, there's going to be a lot of like Ponzi's built on Pulse too, right? You can't stop that innovation. There's going to be a lot of pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes and all types of bad projects.
What are you trying to say, John?
I'm just saying, be careful with Motley's projects. It's sketchy. No, it's just like
better be triple audited and complete before you launch it, Motley.
There's going to be so many like random projects on there and like people just trying to steal other people's money too. So just like you got to be careful with a lot of this new tech, of course. Like you don't want to get too crazy with it, but I'm sure there's going to be some great things built too. So it's just I'm interested to see what like the people are going to do with the bridges, because there's bridges between Ethereum and Pulse. Like there's going to be people setting up bots that just arbitrage nonstop. There's going to be people that take advantage of prices elsewhere. Like there's going to be so much crazy stuff going on, and I think the bridge is going to be super active too. Like I think people are just going to be constantly like sending assets back and forth, just like Matic and Ethereum now with QuickSwap. So it's just like we're going to live in a multi-chain world, multi-bridge world, and it's going to be like easier to move value, hopefully, and less costly than it was, because like Matic was just too expensive and the user experience was terrible. If you wanted to send your money back to Ethereum, it just sucked. It took a while.
I'm really curious to see how this bridge will work out, because I know the Matic bridge was pretty terrible. It was like 8 hours or something like that to get your funds back and forth. I think maybe I was expecting it to be like I don't know, maybe wait like a few blocks or whatever, like the Ethereum blocks. Maybe it should take like 10 minutes at most for a lot of confirmations. I don't know. I wasn't expecting like an 8-hour thing, so maybe hopefully that's definitely improved, so people can see this side that Pulse is, maybe it's faster to bridge on. I don't know. Give me another cell feature of Pulse, bridge back and forth. But yeah, to you guys' point of like building stuff, I'm kind of happy with just being HEX and Pulse support for new people that want to come on, because all I'm getting is I told my friends, they're telling all their friends, and they're all coming back to me like, speak to Scott, he knows what he's doing, and I'm just like the HEX Pulse support now. I'm pretty happy with that job.
It's like John said, it's a full-time job.
It really is.
That doesn't pay very well.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't pay well.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I'm going to hop off. My phone's about to die. Appreciate you having me on, Cabana.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man.
Good seeing you.
See you, Freddie.
Looking forward to actually getting together in a month, but yeah, maybe we'll be on stream before then too.
100%. Good to see you, Motley. Have fun, man. Be safe overseas.
Let's get Motley out
Will
next
do.
week, too.
Will do.
Absolutely. All right, John, Scotty, see you guys later, man.
Later, Freddie.
See ya.
Peace out, man.
All right, so this came up for the third time. Maybe I'll defer to John in chat. I don't think RH or the OA will sacrifice Hex for Pulse. It feels like a lot like double dipping. It would be like spending people's sacrifice to sacrifice and going infinite. Well, all right, I get you on the Hex side. Okay. So,
So, yeah, I read his next comment was saying that they can just OE can allot itself as much pulse as it desires upon instantiation of the pulse
Wow.
launch. There's no need to sack. So that very well could be like that's why I said there's no guarantee that the OA will sack, but I don't know if has worse optics than sacking. Right? It's a judgment call. Like obviously people there was FUD about recycling in the AA. There was FUD about manipulation in the price. So I think you can't have it both ways. You can't just have them mint it and then have no FUD, and you can't just sack it and have no FUD. I think there's going to be FUD either way. But that's what's the fun part is we're going to have to see what the OA does, right? If we are getting massive inflows into the sack phase, then we'll have a inclination that it's an OA. But if they do it intelligently and use Tornado Cash and all these other strategies, then it's going to be impossible to know who is the actual owner or the entity that's doing this stuff. So that's why,
And not use Hex.
and
and if it's not using Hex, then
used Tornado Cash before.
Exactly. So like if you're tornado cashing ETH or USDC, then you can move it to fresh addresses and do what you want. Like you can't really tie the two together. So I mean, he brings up a good point. I'm not really sure how that would work. I'm not like a blockchain expert as far as like being able to mint yourself some of the supply secretly. That just seems sketchy to me. I don't think Richard would do anything like that.
No, that's not going to work.
That's would be my counter argument.
Yeah. No. But I definitely do agree with the whole. I think economic centralization, I think, is huge in successful ventures. We see it time and time again. We see it with Hex. We see it with just businesses in general. And I think it's huge that Pulse also has to be in that way too, because you want the most amount of Pulse in the most diamond of diamond hands. Yep. And that's one way to do it. I can't think of other ways to do it. I think that's the best way to do it without even putting up any red flags. It could just be just lots of Ethereum coming in or lots of USDC, whatever it may be, coming in, and not Hex, because lots of Hex like that would maybe do a red flag in terms of that. For all the galaxy brain idiots out there that want to complain about it. But yeah, I think it's a major positive, I think.
Yeah, and Pulse is deflationary. So it's like you have that in your corner on top of the deflationary aspect, and it kind of just bolsters that whole position anyway.
Hmm.
So
who would you guys want to be the validator of the system? Probably the founder. You would probably want that, right? Because they have the best interest of it, and they can, it's technically it's centralized, right, in ownership, but like that's, as we know, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
For us. It's just like for most people that's way too confusing for them to understand. Like it's too into the weeds. But
you want the product to work. You want like you see BSC, it works fine. EOS, it works fine. I mean, it sucks EOS, but it works fine. There's no like having a small amount of validators. It doesn't matter for the performance of it or whatever. It works fine. So.
The poor validators get weeded out too, right? If you guys saw early on when he was pinning some of the messages early for Pulse, like he did a cool little screen grab where like validators had strikes against him, and they were called like felonies and misdemeanors depending on how severe they were. If they like potentially probably got someone's money slashed. So I mean even if let's say a validator has a ton of Pulse and they still need other people to delegate their Pulse to them to probably secure their position, and if they're a shitty validator, like you're not going to have people delegating to them regardless of what they're offering. So if they have multiple felonies or they've cost a lot of people their delegated Pulse, like they're eventually going to fall by the wayside because people are going to delegate their Pulse elsewhere. So the better validators, the cream of the crop, the guys that are going to be running good servers and have redundancy in the system, those are going to be the ones that end up winning overall. And yes, a good portion of them will probably be the OA or the OA like entity, but like Scotty says, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I think there's going to be a lot of other people that are very interested. I know a couple that want to be validators already and have sizable pulse bags, and they have the know-how to run the servers. So it's not as crucial as having a centralized entity and like we do in HEX with the diamond hands and creating that De Beers effect and essentially enabling us to get amazing APY. I don't think it's as crucial in the Pulse network.
Well, someone just said that the USDC in the SAC address has been moved. So and we are nearing the volume bonus phase ending, right? So it's obviously no causation.
It's been moving a lot of funds the entire time, like millions.
Oh, it has been?
Millions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been doing it since day one. That's what I was saying. Like I haven't gone through and looked at all the transactions, but if you go in it's ERC20 wallet and you just go through and just look at the transactions, it's pulled millions and millions and millions out. So we're probably way higher in the sacrifice numbers already, just because if you look at the out transactions, there's a lot that's already been pulled out. It's probably hundreds of millions now.
And Big Weed, I see your comment. If Richard would have waited to convert the Ethereum to stables, sacrifice would be a lot richer. Yeah, but what if the prices in crypto market would have tanked? He would have looked that much smarter. So I don't think there's anything wrong with at least getting in the stables and locking in what you got there. That's just my point of view, because at that point you're trying to game the market, and if you already have that current market value, then you have a great gauge on what's coming in for the project, and we're good to go, man. I don't want too much tinkering on that front, but I understand your point. We always want more, right? But the way it turns out,
hindsight's 2020.
Exactly.
The OA is bearish right now, so it doesn't mean he's bearish this moment, right? It just means he's long-term or mid-term bearish. So it makes sense to go into stables.
Yeah. So I just had this just as kind of like the breaking in conversation at the top of the show, but we just jumped right into everything. But just go around the room, just thoughts on the current crypto market, like just your take on it. Are we just kind of just in this dead man zone here right now? I'll just obviously just go to BTC because that's the barometer, right? So 29 to 42 is like the range. Do we bust out of the 42 range and test that 55 that Richard's been talking about? Are we just kind of going to meander here for a year and then eventually go up? What are we feeling around the room? Motley.
I'm just going to side with the man, the myth, the legend, Richard, and I'm going to say that we're going into just a bull trap. I think we might start retesting about 50K, give or take, and then we could see that bull trap take place and start approaching those numbers that Richard was talking about earlier, sub 20K Bitcoin. And I think we'll hang out there for a while, but probably towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, I think we could potentially pull back out of it and get another run early 2022, like Q1.
Yeah, I have been hesitant because I'm a stock to flow guy, and until it works, until it doesn't, and it's starting to not work, but it hasn't totally failed yet. So I haven't thrown away like 100K within a year or by the end of the year or whatever. But at the same time, I can see both sides of it. I'm not going to bet the farm on any direction. So we're in.
I don't think you ever get 100K Bitcoin until you get rid of that discounted GBTC on Grayscale right now.
Gotcha. Good take. I like it. Scotty, what's your take on BTC and or the crypto market? Where do you think we're going? Are we just in no man's land for a while, or you see it breaking one way or the other?
Yeah, so right now we had actually a nice move up in Bitcoin. We're at 30,000 now. We're above 40. Now we're at 41 and change too. I think you could see it getting a little. I think it's a little overextended for right now. I could see us maybe coming back and testing a 38 or whatever level, and I could see us having a really nice bull trap, a really good, really nice one. It's playing out perfectly. Where if we just go a little bit sideways here, or maybe go down, like stay around 40, 38. There's this thing I showed John this indicator that's always been relevant. It's the minor capitulation indicator, and this thing it flashes a buy signal like I don't know 2-3 times a year, and when it does, it's always accurate, always. That buy signal, it's been gearing up for the last 3 months now. It showed capitulation, and it's been gearing up to flash a buy, and it's looking like it's going to flash a buy in the next like few weeks. And I think once it does, that would be huge. I would love to see a pump to like 50K, even test 55, and get that support that it held before, and make people really, really bullish, and make everyone go long, then just fucking wreck everybody. Everyone go long, and all those longs getting liquidated, and that would bring it nice and back down again. And then that's true. That's true. Bear market confirmed right there, because you can make cases that maybe we'll come back up and maybe we'll make new all-time highs again. It's always possible, but
at least for HEX.
HEX does its own thing. That's why I love it.
That's a joke.
I love it. And when I talk to, it's funny because when I talk to the people about how bearish I am on Bitcoin, they're like, "Oh no, so HEX is going to go down?" I'm like, "No, it's not related whatsoever." So yeah, I think a nice bull trap. It's looking like it's playing out beautifully. That get a huge, nice pump to 50, and just get smacked down again, get punched in the nose again, like how Richard says. I'm in total agreement with him.
Yeah, I think Benny Bill's. I think that was his quote I had on screen there. That's what I'm thinking of too. Is like the 2017. We had the run up, fall down, and then we had that last bull trap, and everybody got in, and then that was it for a couple of years. So it's quite possible. John,
it happened a lot quicker the last time.
Oh, very, very
slower
quick.
now.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
John, what are your feelings on the general market and or Bitcoin price? Are we in no man's land, or you feel we're going to go one direction or another here?
It seems to me that from the drop, it's just been chopping in that 30, 40K range. And I don't see this as a convincing break above that. So I still think we're chopping for a while. I do have noticed that people are getting more bullish, obviously, because we were painting a pretty fat candle, or actually a few days have been green the last like 5-6 days. So that's like surprising. But I was looking back when you guys were talking back in 2018, there were some significant green candles and bounces in like February, April of 2018. And then they just continued to chop around and then finally drop, right? So this isn't really a convincing breakout to me at the upside. It just still seems like we're going to chop in this range and just keep getting people believing that this is the bull market. And then eventually I think we'll head lower. I just don't know, obviously, the timing of when it's going to break down. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that great right now in general on Bitcoin or Ethereum. But the Ethereum has the tailwind of the EIP 1559. So is that a specific event that can override a bear market? Probably not. But some people have speculated that it is going to supercharge the next like double bubble. Right, that's the bull thesis. But I don't see that yet, unless DeFi takes off or some other unforeseen thing comes up.
Yeah, I see the EIP 1599 or 155. Was it 1599?
1559.
Yeah, I see that as more of like a long-term bullish thing. Like how the halving for Bitcoin is as well. It reduces the inflation or whatever with the supply. But that's like a long-term thing that plays out. It takes months for it to play out on the supply. I think that's what's going to be the case for Ethereum. It's a nice narrative.
You'll probably see a short-term sell-off right after it releases, honestly.
Could, yeah. We'll pump up to it and whatever, yeah. And that could be the nice, that could be our nice bull trap too.
Yeah.
When is it coming out? When does it come out again?
August 4th.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I'd
said
assume.
it right.
And
Scotty,
they had some
narrative, it's like-
they had some bugs too, and
narrative.
they're still deciding to push it forward, which is interesting.
right. So
That means ETH is really kind of feeling the pressure, I think, because this is the first time, right? Like we already touched it on the stream, that we're really starting to go into this multi-chain ecosystem, and ETH is really being pushed for the first time, largely like by stuff like Polkadot and the Binance Chain and Matic and all this stuff. Like they have competitors now. They're losing ground. They're losing. They have competition now. They're not the only game in town. And now you have something like PulseChain coming out that's essentially beating out Ethereum 2.0, or potentially it's going to do a lot of stuff better. Like I think they're feeling the heat, so they're rushing stuff, and that's when you make mistakes. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think ETH is in a little bit of trouble. And on top of that, everyone wants to talk shit about centralization, OA, Richard, and all that nonsense. How about Ethereum Foundation dumping on their users' heads every time? Like no one fucking talks about that shit, but they make the local top every bull market. So when are we gonna hear that shit?
It's a great point.
Yep. It's actually, the inverse of HEX. We have like the OA doing stuff like the Magic Carpet bid support, doing the big payday, staking to screw over the short-term people. It's like we have the opposite of that, but it's demonized and viewed as, it's portrayed as in a bad way. Whereas the HEX believers and the OGs know that it's actually the best asset to the project. So it's just fun. It's so ironic that the thing that they FUD the most is actually the thing that's the best for the project. But yeah, I mean, the ETH people that I talk to that are in the ETH are still very, very bullish. So
oh yeah,
I don't know what that tells you.
ETH people still very much love ETH, right? And like you're one of them, right? Because you were early on in ETH, and like I know a lot of like good sized ETH players, and like they're very, just like Hexicans are very loyal to HEX, they're very loyal to ETH. And I'm sure just like Genesis Whale, like clearly he's divested a portion of his ETH bags into HEX, and he seems to like HEX a lot. But I guarantee you, he really likes his ETH bags as well. Like you don't have that much Genesis ETH and not like ETH. So
it's an emotional attachment, man. Yeah,
yep,
definitely. That's the thing, right? It's like people get attached to their
life
stocks too. It's like about Berkshire when it was like $50, so it's like I'm emotionally attached to the rest of my life. Like it happens in any asset, right? Bitcoin, of course.
Yeah, they're attached to Bitcoin. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. I finally got rid of my last. I was telling John, I finally got rid of my last remaining Bitcoin. I was like, screw it. I don't know why I'm holding on to this.
It's been gone since day one. After the snapshot, it was gone for me. After the snapshot, went straight to ETH. Had no emotional ties to that sucker.
I mean, like I was just holding on for like the diversity's sake, but it's not even like diversity because HEX just.
It's the better version.
Ate my whole portfolio of HEX. So it wasn't even like diversity anymore.
Wasabi talks about that all the time. Like he didn't buy a crazy portion of HEX. Like he bought a decent amount, but like compared to the allocation of the rest of his bag, it was pretty diversified. And like HEX made up a small percentage of his bag. Yep. And he's talked about it lately on the past couple of streams. It's flipped the rest of his bags. It's flipped the entire portfolio. Like that just shows you what kind of performance HEX is on right now. It's literally just on steroids compared to everything else. And then you throw the 40% APY on top of it. It's no contest.
That's why I was like, screw it. I don't know why I'm holding on to this. I'll just sack it.
It's garbage.
Do some for sends, sack some, and then that's it. It's done. I don't need it anymore. I'll keep some ETH or whatever, just whatever. But definitely, I don't need BTC anymore. It makes no sense.
And I mean, I was even keeping a decent bag of ETH, and then eventually I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I know it's coming up over the next couple months, just with the SAC phase and the snapshot and the copy of the HEX. So I was just like, I can buy that ETH bag back for like pennies on the dollar for the gains that I'm about to do in HEX, and it's true. Like, and you know how many doubles I hit in the past 3 months when I sacked that ETH bag? Oh my god! Like I can buy that ETH bag back like tenfold easy without even blinking an eye. So it's just like it was just the right move. It was just the right move to make. Still the right move in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to a little bit of ETH, and see if there's any fuckery with Pulse launch. If there's any dips for anything, then I'm gonna look to bridge that over and buy up some of the dips.
Yeah,
that's what I have to look.
Yep.
Plan B or whatever.
Most things dump at launch, right? And Richard said it a million times. So it's like Pulse could dump. It's very well likely that Pulse could dump at launch.
Yeah.
So be prepared for all the assets that you love. Be prepared for dips on all of them, right?
Yep.
So you're hedged either way. So you have your bags, but if there's a dip in any of these different chains and every of these different liquidity pools, there could be some life-changing opportunities if you catch the right coin and the right price, right? Like there could be, especially on a brand new ecosystem. There's a lot of opportunity, so that's the fun part too, speculating on some of that stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see PHEX taking a dip too. I mean, why not? And people are getting it for free. They can maybe take some profit, and buying dips is the best way to make a lot of money. Really, is timing it right.
I have a hard time believing the PHEX.
I think
Yeah.
PHEX has shoots to the moon, and I've talked about this already. Just because, like, you just look at how much money is going into this this sacrifice phase right now, even without the OA get in, and you're talking about almost $1 billion of economic mass coming in here, and most of the PRC 20s are not going to be valuable, and most of the community that's coming in here for the start is going to be Hexicans, and the moment that Pulse actually gets value, a lot of people are going to allocate a good chunk of their Pulse into PHEX, and I have a very hard time not seeing PHEX just absolutely go on a tear early on. Like I think PHEX absolutely just rips the brakes off of everything.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing to see because if people are selling their Pulse then for PX, then that means Pulse is going to take a little bit of a dip. So you could try and buy that.
Yeah, there's always got to be something to scoop.
And then EHEX,
it's a win-win, right?
I was just going to say EHEX. People could be selling maybe some of their EHEX off, maybe to bridge it over,
Pulse or buy Pulse or buy PX. Yeah, there's definitely. I know for
there's
certain.
going to be dips somewhere.
There's going to be people
Take
after
advantage.
after the
Right.
after the snapshot and the launch. There's going to be people who emerge and stake on
Big payday event.
and use that to buy PulseX or Pulse. There's definitely going to be a lot of that. So it's like, you want to be staked for those days because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of penalties. And then there might even be a nice dip too to buy on EHEX. You could use some of your free PHEX to buy EHEX, right? There's a million permutations of what you could do. There's a million.
Enjoy all the arbing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of ARB opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we've seen already the emergency end stakes were nuts already.
Yep.
Doubling the HEX payout.
What's the highest day we got? Was it 9.2? Was that the
9
highest
something.
one?
Yeah,
I
something
think it
like
was
that.
9.2.
And it was 7 or 8 or whatever, and it was like a few days.
I'll take.
I mean, that's going to keep going. You're going to have your weak-handed guys that just want to sell whatever, and that's great. The people that are staking.
And maybe and they might not even be necessarily weekend. They might have just wanted a little bit more access to funds, and they were willing to eat a little bit of a percentage if the stake was close. So.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a lot of OGs taking profit and happy to pay penalties because they were up so much in US dollar terms that it made sense for them to parlay that into a new coin.
Win-win
right?
for
Like
everyone.
it's just like, you're using you're using gains to try to get more gains, right? With zero risk.
Yeah.
So,
and you guys made a great point about people that have the 15-year stakes and they're looking at that dollar amount 7 years into it. And all that, when they emergency end stake that, it might not be a lot of HEX to us now, but the dollar amount could be nuts later on.
could be,
I actually didn't even think about that. People are going to be tempted.
because that's how HEX has been since we started, right? We were getting a lot of HEX interest, but it was so little in US dollar terms. We're like, whatever, I'm making 10 cents a day. And then it goes up 1,000x, and now you're making $100 a day, right? On the same stack, on the same T-shirts.
Yep.
Johnny made a great video on his Twitter about that not too long ago. It's just in the short period of time, that amount of HEX that you're receiving is changed a lot, just in the value alone, and then over time, just the number of HEX you're going to get it's going to slowly continue to go up as well, and it's going to be more and more and more. It's going to be a lot of money every T-shirt you can hold on to.
I checked the last 2 weeks of penalties. It was 185 million HEX. So if you multiply that by the current USD value of HEX, let's say 11.5 cents, that's 21.2 million US dollars. $21 million paid to stakers, right? Oh, I guess half of that. So
half
$10.5 million dollars in 2 weeks paid to the stakers, right? That's
easy payday.
And that's at current prices. At $1, that's that's way more. Right?
That 9.2 day we had for a lot of you OGs, have fun calculating that what your payout was for that day. It was really nice. It was really nice. more of that to come in the future.
Yeah, it is pretty cool because you have, I guess, if you're an OG account, you have your set amount that you kind of expect every day, but you see like that
It's like
number
Christmas.
go up 50% in a day. You're like, holy crap, man! Like, all right,
And
today was it's Christmas.
What the beautiful thing is too is like the people that came in later, like they're gonna be in the exact same spot we are, just within like a year or two. Like they're gonna be in the exact same spot, and then they're gonna be like, holy crap! Like I really made that much in one day. And it's just a perpetual machine that just continues to go. And like Richard harps on it all the time, but it really does just continue to leave meat on the bone because eventually we all get weeded out of the system at one point or another.
Just going back in chat for a couple of questions. Michael Monahan, around when is Snapshot? We don't know, man. You have guys like we talked about in this stream, be like, let's not even announce it. Let's just have it done at the end of SAC and that be over and done with. At the same time, I also saw a question earlier that I didn't answer. So when is like Pulse launch? Richard keeps saying 45 to 60 days for mainnet. So I've just been telling myself like October 1st. Is that when you guys are thinking like conservatively or,
Just wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we got to get testnet. Testnet needs to come out. It needs to be put through its paces enough to make sure there's no issues or anything like that. And we still don't have testnet yet. He was saying either this week or early next week. Yeah. So till the testnet comes out and we actually get to play around with it, make sure bugs don't work, I can start looking at some stuff that we're building and actually play around with it. Like until that starts coming out, you're definitely looking at 45 to 60 days probably.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to have we're definitely going to have a little bit of notice. It's gonna probably I would guess at least a day or two because he's going to announce when the block height number is going to be.
I don't think
it's going to be for.
I don't know if he necessarily announces that. I don't know if he necessarily announces the snapshot. We could just get PulseChain launched like on us. Like I think he might do that just to distract from like. So we already kind of talked about it. There's probably going to be a good sell off on HEX on Ethereum chain. So like I think he might continue to publicly state like, hey, the snapshot's coming out soon. Like you guys might want to buy more HEX, and we get a run up. But like I don't know if he necessarily gives the date that we have the snapshot or the block because people are going to take advantage, right? People are going to try to do flash loans. People are going to try to do a lot of manipulative stuff. Yeah. And on top of that, there's going to be a sell off regardless, I think. Yeah. But if you just launch the chain, then you have that shiny object syndrome where everyone's like, oh, I got my pulse. They're grabbing their pulse and they're like, oh, what's this over here I can go buy? What's this over here I can buy? And it slightly distracts the masses from selling off their HEX on Ethereum. So then you don't destroy our chart. I mean, you won't destroy it, but it'll look like a big payday wick down probably. And if he doesn't announce it, then you can get enough of a distraction to kind of curtail the sell off, I think. So I don't know if he necessarily gives us the opportunity of the exact date and time of snapshot.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I think he's definitely going to give us some sort of.
How do you combat flash loans then?
I don't know how would flash loans even. That's
because you could just buy $500 million
for the snapshot.
Huh?
That wouldn't count for the. That wouldn't count
if you
for
caught
the block.
tail. If you caught for the tail end of the block, if you timed it properly.
I mean, it has to be confirmed inside that block, but it's not like. So it happens like within the block, so it never really goes through, so to speak.
I mean, even then, not even necessarily flash loans, but literally a player could just take a massive loan. Let's say someone had access to just mass amounts of like business loan equity or what have you, and just $1 billion.
Yeah. That's great though.
Yeah,
you could do
that.
That's great though. That's doable.
Yeah. I'm even doing that. So.
Yeah, Scotty's been talking about that to me.
I may or may not be doing the same.
But I've learned that like people underestimate the how amazing it really is because when I've dealt with the snapshot stuff before in other cryptos or whatever, and I've always underestimated it. Like I'm probably not going to go that hard into it or whatever, and it pays off usually very well. And it hasn't usually. The best example of a snapshot for recently in my instance was the Cardano testnet. I don't know if you guys are aware of that or whatever. When Cardano had the incentivized testnet, it had a nice run up in ADA. So you could just basically buy as much ADA as you want, and that gets copied over to their testnet. And that was like a block height event kind of thing. And I didn't even take it that seriously. It's like, who the hell cares? Why would I buy up that much? But all that stuff got copied over, and you were able to play with it. And all those rewards you made, being a stake or whatever, it got translated to the mainnet after the fact. So you could have taken out as many loans, whatever, as possible, and not have to worry about any kind of financial risk, because you just have to have it there for a few minutes or whatever in the block height. But I think it's going to be a beautiful thing though with HEX anyway, because you could do that, buy up as much HEX as you want. And it doesn't have to be an actual dump or that big of a dump, because there wasn't in ADA. There wasn't actually. There was a nice big run up, but there wasn't a big dump after the fact. It didn't eat back all those gains. So I can foresee the same thing happening again with HEX and with the Pulse, whatever.
And Sig Hex is like, I've done it. Yeah. So I thought about, well, I might do a video on this, but I might bring it up here because why not? So say, what were we at? 11.5 cents, a little over for HEX price. So everybody's worried about HEX dump, and I try not to say EHEX because I'm trying to get out of that habit, because I think it's good for us to just say HEX and PHEX.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
So what happens, what fantasy scenario? So we have 95 million, I'm just throwing it out there because I think it was 90-some million HEX on the market, different pairs. Everybody's worried about HEX dumping as opposed to PHEX after, the PulseChain launch. What if Magic Carpet Ride and or whale entities come in, take out that supply before snapshot, and do not let flippers or traders come in and try to buy and time that market and perhaps take away that opportunity or whatever scenario that could be there for somebody to manipulate the price.
Speaking of whales, Rack was in the chat.
I see.
Good
Hey,
timing.
what's up, Rack?
He heard us talking about it. Well, on that note, I'll let the two Galaxy Brains discuss it, but I got a flight to catch, so I'll catch you guys
All right,
later.
man.
All right, bro.
Peace
Have a
out.
good
I'll see you. It's good talking to you.
Later, guys.
Peace, man.
Yeah, so I was just wanted to throw that out there because I have like a few talking points I just want to do like a random video about, but I've been thinking about this and everybody's like, oh my gosh, EHEX is going to dump, HEX is going to dump. Try not to say EHEX. But what if a whale entity or a Magic Carpet Ride manufacturer were to come in and what's up, bro? Were to come in and take out that supply, because if people are going to try to manipulate this, snapshot and get their copy and whatnot, and then the game is after PulseChain launches to sell HEX, old school HEX, take that away from them. And if this Magic Carpet Ride is going to happen, or if these whales are going to get their supply of HEX at some point, why not do it before the snapshot? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But wouldn't that be the time to do it, to just kill, these attempted flippers?
I don't think there'll be any liquidity manipulation there.
Yeah, I agree with John on that. Yeah.
I just don't think it's necessary, unless you see a hidden value. I don't see the benefit too much to do that. I don't think. But
yeah, I think then you would have seen stuff like that for a big payday. There was no liquidity manipulation at all, and you could have made a point that maybe trying to remove liquidity or whatever around the big payday time, so people couldn't really sell as much or whatever. But I think that's playing too many games. Sometimes less is more. And I think that's way too. It's over playing it. I think. I think just let the natural market forces happen,
Well, I'm not necessarily talking liquidity gains. I'm just talking about, if there are big players out there looking to buy and they have a target number, and say right now at the current value, it's like what, 11 million to take out the rest of the supply. Granted, you would push the price up against yourself, so it'd be a lot more than that. But I'm just saying, like 20 million, whatever it is, and that supply is gone, you can't, like, other people just can't come in and be like, oh, got my coins for the snapshot, now I'm dumping old school HEX after that, or PulseChain launch. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking liquidity gains per se. I'm talking, could be other entities outside of, in OA or something like that.
So something like what? You mean like, so people might imagine a run up in the HEX price. Let's say the block height, fork, whatever, or the snapshot, easy way to say it, is like I don't know, tomorrow. So a few days before, then someone would buy up the HEX price enormously. That's what you kind of mean? Not really. So that it's just a much higher price, and so if people want to try and buy it up, they can't get as much HEX to dump later. Is that what you mean? Kind of spiel?
Yeah, basically, I'm seeing like 90 to 100 million hexes out there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much like available to buy. Mm-hmm. So if that's all that there is, and obviously, I mean, what did we see it go down to? Like 60 million when we ran up to like 20 cents or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that, as the price goes higher, that number is going to come down. But I'm just saying, if we have this window before PulseChain launch, and everybody expects the old school HEX as opposed to PHEX, HEX, EHEX, I'll just say it so everybody knows what I'm talking about, price to drop and get sold into because they then have a copy of PHEX. Why not just come in, these big entities come in, grab it all up and be like, you know what, you can't sell it anymore because we have it all. And if they were going to buy it anyway, you have your copies before that even takes off. So it's just something I've been thinking about, man, because like, why would you wait? If you really think that the price of HEX is going to what it was designed to, I'm not even talking like $1 or $10, just to 50 cents. That's like more than 4x from here right now. Why would you not get in now if you're a large entity with millions of dollars? Take that supply out. Don't let anybody dump on you, and then we're off, with less resistance.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of hopium.
I don't like hopium either. Believe me, if you watch,
I'm all for it.
But
no, yeah,
like,
I know.
If you have the money to do that, why would you not lock it up now as opposed to next year or 2023 or something? Yeah.
I think that's some of the game theory that Richard's trying to incentivize with the Pulse launch and with the snapshot of like you're getting a free copy. Like, of course, there's already been people that have piled into HEX and already exhausted all their funds now, right? The average user is probably like already allocated, right? We've already seen huge run-ups. But like, yeah, there could be large entities or whales sitting on the sidelines waiting to buy it up. But like, if I was them, I wouldn't be waiting. Like I would be actively building a position, setting limit bid orders, trying to catch some dips. If you are a large guy, you should not be scaling in all in one market buy, right? There's way more intelligent ways to do that. So it's like, hopefully the snapshot will and the timing will incentivize people to do that. But until we see some huge green candles, nonstop green candles, then we can't really say that's going to happen, right? It's just going to have to either happen closer to the snapshot or not happen at all. So. And
shout out to Rack and Rochelle, who's heading to dinner, but he just figured to do a pre-dinner a tip. Thank you, brother. This will boost the production value of this show. All the proceeds, go towards that. So, dude, you're awesome. Love you. And we've been talking, just on Twitter a couple times. I think he's like looking at putting together some events and country music, and we're fans of country music. It's totally cool, man. Nice. So yes, boom. If I were out on the beach, I would go jump in the ocean for you. But anyway.
Yeah, shout out to Overwatch. I've been talking to him and DMing him throughout the HEX launch for like a long time. He's been an admin there for a while, so we've been talking about price projections and stuff, and And we thought, I mean, he thought it was going to go a lot higher. I don't want to dox him too much, but he thought it was going to go a lot higher pre big payday. So did I. But yeah.
Oh, like last November?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because like back then when we were at like, you know, fractions of pennies, it was tough to say like what the, you know, the price predictions were all over the place. Some people had like 33 cents. Some people had $1. Some people had like a penny. Right. So,
Yeah.
anyways, shout out to Overwatch.
Yeah, man, he's totally cool, and I just love seeing him on all the Hexagon streams. I think he was on Brands the other night, so that was really cool to see. He's just the OG in both projects / products and supports the community like no other. So cool. Cigaro, did you already talk about Pulse versus PHEX price performance? Not necessarily Pulse. We've been talking EX versus PHEX. I probably got like another 10 minutes here before I got to go out to dinner myself. But there's so many unknowns with Pulse, right? So it's like we can't really get into that price thing until we know supply and everything like that. Otherwise, it's just random speculation. So.
Yeah, I mean, we did touch upon it a little bit that some of us think that PHEX is going to do well at launch because the ratio of the AMM is going to be there's going to be less supply available to buy, and if people are going to be emergency end staking or just selling their EHEX after the snapshot for PHEX, that's obviously bullish PHEX in the short term. So that's what we're speculating on. We're not exactly sure. Obviously, we're gonna have to see what people are doing at that time, but that's what the general consensus was. I think we talked about it earlier with Motley and some of the other guys.
Yeah, it's hard to judge right now. What kind of pulse, like what kind of gains or whatever you could be looking at, or potential, whatever you could be looking at. I have to see where it launches at. What's the market cap of it or whatever. It's funny. So I know market cap is like a vanity, stupid metric or whatever, but I actually believe it's a heavily traded metric, even though it's not. So what I mean by traded, it's all mental. So when people see market cap, they look at it, well, it's not Bitcoin's market cap, or it's not going to get less than half of Ethereum's market cap, so there's no way. So then I'll just sell. So it does. So you can trade the market cap. So it's not just really so much of a van. It is, and it's all meaningless because you can just trade $1 worth of the tokens, and then all of a sudden it just shoots up. Or if you buy like $1,000, whatever, and it has a stupid price. But I have seen where that's how I judged I think where HEX, what its potential was when it launched. I think it was around the rank 200 or something like that. And I was like, you know what? If it can get to the top 10. Then you could see HEX being at a penny or whatever towards big payday. So you have to see where it launches, really, Pulse. Is it a fake vanity metric? Yeah, but some people actually trade where it could be and try and predict where it could be and make trades based off of it, kind of. So we'll see what happens.
People do for sure. It's definitely not the best metric to track the health of crypto, but a lot of people do look at like the price potential of something, like its market cap relative to what Bitcoin is or what a competitor is in the space. Like Ethereum's is whatever, 200 bill. Maybe Solana could become 10% of that, or 20% of that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I do hear that a lot. People do talk in those terms a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to see where it launches. I mean, I hope it does launch relatively low, because then it's a better it's better looking, I guess, to buy it up later or whatever for entries. But we'll see where it launches. I have no idea. I think people always try and look and see how much money came in the SAC, and then they can try and judge market cap after the fact. That makes no sense to me. I don't know how people even come up with these numbers. Like, what is it? Like $1 billion comes in, so it must be this market cap. Like, I don't understand that. It doesn't equate the two. I don't get how people say that.
I mean, if it's only like $1 billion and ETH's market cap is like 200 billion, then let's go get that 200x, man. But I think you can't really do that. It's its own phase, and I'm totally with you on that. Just a quick shout out to Kay Hudson, who is listening. So you're not watching, but you're listening. But I see your comment. Thank you for watching the stream. You're getting shout outs in the chat from Bran and HEX and a bunch of others. So thank you. We've got a bunch of first time names I'm seeing here in the chat. So this is awesome. Just even before we even went on, had a couple comments just in messages. So cool you're having John and Scotty on. So thank you guys for coming on. Just been a great discussion. At least past the first 40 minutes while I was solving my own technical issues. But
it's been fun.
I love talking, especially with different members of the Hexagon community, and especially guys who have been here, who I see on other streams, and just finally be able to exchange ideas and bounce things off of. It's so good. I love it. So thank you guys for making the time to come out here. I still have 5 minutes left, so I don't want to make it like I'm trying to shut down yet. But yeah, just thanks, guys. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching your streams, watching like the trivias and stuff. It's pretty funny. Watching Vince cringe. So I've been watching your show for a while, and I will out Scotty a little bit. He just heard about your show like a week ago. Once Richard went on, he was like, "Oh shit, I got to subscribe."
Thanks, Scotty. Yeah,
so,
I heard, but it's like I got all right. Thanks, John. I got a family. I only have Richard Hart. He streams for like 2-3 fucking hours. So there's so much time in the damn day. No, I heard about you. No, I didn't say that. I said I haven't. You can't keep so much content. It's like ridiculous. Yeah. It's great though too.
It's insane.
It's and so much.
What is up, Allison Lapointe from Seattle? Sounds like a hockey name. Y'all just got a hockey team. That's cool. Anyway, hey Cabana, middle class working man, because that's the Vince thing. We haven't done like easy trivia and jokes and stuff like that just because it's been summer and I didn't really plan on doing a lot of streams, but we've been growing this channel, and so maybe like in a month or so I'll bring that back, because we have a lot of stuff prepared and we're trying to build this up even more. We just try to also be a little different because the show's theme is happy hour, so we try to be a little bit more loose, and out of context text calls us informal but informative. So we have fun, but with guys like John and Scotty on, it's like people come here for the information and different takes, and it's like you can't get everybody. You can't. It's hard to find a stream to get all your favorite people on. So I try to like book the guests at least a few days in advance, get the names out there, so it's like, oh well, people want to hear a certain set of ideas. And I know they've probably seen you on Discourse Syndicate. I know I've watched you guys on there and enjoyed that as well. So, it's just, again, so cool to have you guys on, especially just rapping back and forth with Kirk and Motley. So there's always like a great exchange of ideas, especially when there's different parties involved too. So, yeah.
And it's great that you guys are keeping at it and producing the content, because I mean it may seem like a grind or whatever, or just like a pain, to keep making out doing videos or whatever. Yeah. But I've seen so many channels that went super viral, and I was in them in the beginning, like watching from the beginning, like how I am now, and I'm seeing all these HEX channels growing, they're steadily growing. They're getting subs, they're getting subscribers, and they're starting to get relatively large, and you could see just like in a month, all of a sudden, these numbers can get big. I mean, I was in like I don't know if you heard like I watched the Linus Tech Tips back in the day, and when he was at like a few thousand subs, and now he's like 15 million or some shit, some crazy numbers. And what other channels like Meet Kevin? I was way in the beginning. I was watching like
really.
Yeah, well, I watched their stuff. Well,
yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Graham Stephan too. It's just funny. I'm actually like a YouTube expert in getting in on the lows of the subscribe counts, because they blow up, all of them. So
now if they're
and I'm noticing, I'm noticing it though with all the HEX, they're gaining a lot of subs. Look, Richard's gaining a ton of subs now too.
Yeah.
Yes.
The word's getting
Yeah.
out. Look at his Twitter; it's blowing up. His YouTube count's blowing up. If they don't fucking ban him, the assholes. Everything. It's really great to see that it's starting. It's gaining traction. A whole community. It's gaining traction. So I like that everyone's sticking with it, and they're making the content, they're producing, because it's going to pay off big.
The Etherscan holders is going up like almost every day. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Staker app.
Staker app.
So
Exactly.
the virality seems to be, going on an exponential.
Mhm.
It has to like kind of coil up and then go exponential. So it seems like we're kind of in a coiling up phase where everyone's getting more, attuned to Hex and Pulse. And now that Pulse is around, everyone's talking about it. And then by osmosis, they're learning about Hex. So hopefully we get some more of those converts. But even if
Yep.
not, we're still going to be getting the high interest every single day. So, it's just icing on the cake. Hopefully we can get
definitely contributed to it because there's Hex, I guess, reached the point after Big Payday. We had a conference. Maybe like the Vegas thing was, that was a cool event. But
that was fun.
Pulse has just turned this into a constant content machine because there's so much at play here, and it's going to be it's its own entity. So you have these two things tied together, and it's like, oh well, we got a break. No, we got maybe like a couple months of a break to where it was like kind of like low news cycle, but I think this is a perpetual news cycle that we might be in for years now because specifically of Pulse.
Yep. Agreed.
And and we have exchange and stablecoin.
Yep.
And it's like
Liquidity mining.
oh my gosh,
All that stuff is coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Value on
really
two
exciting.
chains.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really exciting stuff.
Shout out Hex 19, good stream tonight. We thank you for that. We'll aim to be great next time. Thank you, Hex 19. And Scotty and John. So yeah. It's
All right.
so cool.
I think this is probably a good time to wrap it up, unless you guys have anything else you want to cover real quick.
Yeah, it sounds good. We're going on for like 2.5
Yeah.
hours right anyway, too.
I got to go to dinner too.
Yeah, this is about my window too, Jen.
Yeah.
So we usually end the show here. Just tell us where we can find you. We'll go just around Scotty and then John. You guys are on Twitter or Telegram, wherever, where you're most active. YouTube. Tell our audience where we can find you.
Yeah, I'm just in Telegram. That's it. I'm hopefully going to have a lot more free time now that I could mod the Pulse chat a little better. Because I want to contribute too, but it's like I got all the family stuff, and I can't be as active as I want to be. But yeah, I'm in Telegram. That's it. I'm nowhere else really.
Yeah, me too. I'm in Telegram. You can DM me at Golden Yacht. That's my username. I got that early. I was like, after that guy went on the Richard stream and said he's got a 14-year stake and said he wants to be on a Golden Yacht one day. So yeah, DM me if you have any questions or if any things you want to just talk about. I have been getting success with people in self-directed stuff. So if you're interested in that too, doing like tax-free crypto in your retirement accounts, IRAs or 401ks, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Helped a few guys do that. They're pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with mine too. So if people want to get more information about that, just DM me. Or I'm also in the HEX chats and all the trading chats. So hit me up.
Awesome. K Hudson, Wedneck stream. We are here every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Archie, thank you. Yes, Benny Bill's Discourse Syndicate is up. I think the ladies are up in like 23 minutes with our ladies' man, Crypto Coffee, and a couple others. Victor, thank you for stopping by, watching later. You guys rock. Chat rocks. Thank you so much. I think another record amount of viewers for the show, so we just keep going up and up and up. Thanks to our awesome guests, Scotty and John Wick. And yeah, we will do it again next week. No idea who our guests will be, but thank you guys again for subscribing, following, being active in the chat. And thanks to our awesome guests. And look forward to seeing you guys too, Scotty and John, whatever streams that you might be on. And you guys are always invited. to come back on again too. So
Yeah, I'll see you around. See you around.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right,
you so
it's a
much.
pleasure.
Close
See
it
you,
out.
Scotty.